Hello everyone, I'm Captain Logan, and it's time once again for the Superhero Rewind Commentary Project. Joining me tonight, as always, is my sidekick, Austin, and tonight we're going to go all the way back to 2022, just in time for the 24th anniversary of Sam Raimi's Spider-Man. This is kind of interesting timing for this, because we just did the first Bryan Singer X-Men movie last week, and this is the next arguably major superhero movie that happens after that, and the next big Marvel movie that happens after that. Austin, remind me though, what year is Blade 2? Where's that drop?
I think Blade 2 is before this. It might be the same year. I'm not sure.
Is it sandwiched between?
Or the year before. I think it's sandwiched between.
we have no idea. We don't know what's happening. Oh no, Blade 2 is also.
I'm so bad at dates.
Yeah, that's also this year. Yeah.
Okay, so depending on when that falls, because I would think you would put that closer to like October.
Yeah, so that might have even been after this. I'm not going to look up the month right now, but
yeah.
Anyway, I guess we're doing a bit of a series right now, a little mini series on movies I've talked about too often. We did X-Men last time. We're doing Spider-Man tonight, and the pick for next week is also a movie that I've done a commentary on not too long ago. And we're coming back and finally getting these things, or I should say already, on the Rewind Commentary Project. So just like with X-Men, we'll do our best to bring up interesting stuff that we've maybe not talked about before, but these are just kind of updated where we're at with these movies now commentaries, and probably, almost certainly, the absolute last time we'll do complete watching front-to-back commentaries on these movies. Because the idea with the commentary project is we're trying to do as many of every superhero movie ever made in this format, and that means that we've got to go back to things that we've done lots of times before. And I did a unscripted rewind on this movie a few years ago. I think it was one of the last ones in that format that I did, and I had a real different viewing than I had in a long time of it, and I kind of, pardon the pun, swung back around on it and was much happier with it than I had been in a long time, and maybe ever had been. I found all kinds of like interesting story stuff that I hadn't appreciated before. I may be a little bit lighter tonight on story analysis just because I did so much with it then, and obviously this is not the deepest or most complicated story or anything, and there's lots of amusing kind of like nitpicks and I would argue mostly small kind of plot holes that you could poke in it, and I'll talk about some of that stuff just because it's fun. But at one time I found this movie kind of too quaint when compared to more recent like arguably more sophisticated, kind of smarter, layered superhero movies. And I kind of, there's a part of me that kind of longs for these days a little bit when we have, and obviously not every movie from this period has this. The first X-Men movie doesn't have it as much as this does, even close to this. But a period of just kind of reverence for the comic material, and like still obviously trying to tell a story and be as character driven as you can. And even with Raimi, you'll hear the word realism thrown around a little bit. But the most important thing, and you heard this a lot back then with this franchise especially, but even like Daredevil, you got this, Ghost Rider, you got this, a lot of, isn't it fun to bring a comic book to the big screen? and I like trying to find that balance of what is a comic book like on the big screen. And when you get to the last decade, or even to maybe you could even say the last 15 years, it becomes a lot more about that being the source material, and then we try to like make it its own thing. And when you get to MCU, and I like a lot of MCU, but sometimes it's less about being a cool comic book on the big screen and a little more about like taking all the credit. This is these are these great movie characters now, and stuff like this remembers where it came from a little bit better than sometimes we do it now. Not with everything, but that's what I feel like the modern era is sometimes missing.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair. There was an interesting interview with Raimi the other day where somebody asked him about, like, just adapting comics and, like, where do you go? Like, why have we maybe, like, fallen off the path? Like, how do you, get back on the path? Like, how do you continue to make good adaptations? And he had, like, a whole thing about, like, oh, like, the comics are there, like, the source material is there, just bring that to film. And then he specifically goes, stuff like Marvel, DC, and Dark Horse have existed for so long, and I'm like, I can't believe you just know what Dark Horse is off the top of your head. Especially right now, like I'm like, that's cool though. I dig it.
And Dark Horse
I can't hear you. I think you're muted.
Dark Horse not even known for superhero comics.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like just Hellboy. Make a Hellboy, Raimi. You would do a good job at that.
Dan Schneider says, by sometimes missing, you mean constantly missing all the time. You're too nice, Cap. I mean, I don't think that's fair. I think James Gunn has a lot of reverence for comics, even when he's changing stuff up and kind of reinventing characters and stuff. Like, things don't have to be 100% off the page, but, like, the thing I liked... And,
I mean, this movie's not...
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like, there's certainly a balance that Raimi has to try to strike with this to make it as off the page as he can get away with and still accessible to a general audience. And in my opinion, there are mistakes that they make with that, and we'll talk about that.
Yeah,
there are changes that were not necessary to make a general audience happy. Everything that we'll talk about with this, we've probably had some discussion on, so I'll try not to say I've said this before too often, but this is a point I brought up before. But like, for instance, the thing with the web shooters feels so completely arbitrary to me. This idea that Raimi was worried that general audiences would not accept that would be a bridge too far. And I'm like, so really, a guy on a glider who controls it with his brain or something, like, we don't even know how exactly that works. It's just he takes these enhancers and then somehow is able to control a glider, and an audience is supposed to accept that, but can't accept a high school kid building web shooters, and it's not organic. It's so arbitrary.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's just that he would be like have the resources to make them, but I mean, he also made the suit. Like, I don't know. It's
yeah.
You could have gotten away with it. It's kind of like the suit where, like, you maybe just kind of sweep it under the rug and just like, oh, well, he has this now. But no, because I always thought that was a holdover from the James Cameron version. But like, there is a scene that they shot where he had web shooters, and I think they like CGI over it.
I read that that was the one holdover from that script. That the Cameron script did in fact have organic webbing, and that's the one thing that
it does. Yeah, because it's like a puberty metaphor.
What I wondered,
which this kind of has.
Yeah, no, that's true. No, I think there's quite a bit of puberty metaphor with this. Like, it's both that and coming of age at the same time.
For sure. I just mean, like, kind of in that Cameron's movie was way more about that, while here it's just an element. That's all I meant.
Yeah. Well, I think you see puberty happen and then the rest of the movie. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think the entire thing is a puberty metaphor. I think it's the scene where he realizes that he doesn't need glasses anymore, and he's super strong, and then he goes out and learns how to use his organic webbing. And once he's in the costume, puberty has happened, and that's appropriate because he's in college after that.
Yeah, no, exactly. No, and that's part of like the Uncle Ben stuff, like where he's a little bit more angsty, and like that's part of the puberty thing. So like, yeah, it's definitely there through the origin.
You know, I wonder with the organic webbing thing. I promise we'll get into the movie pretty soon. I wonder if that's not Raimi when he kind of took up for not going with the mechanical web shooters. I wonder if that wasn't him being kind of diplomatic with the thing that was maybe out of his control. Like, I wonder if that being a holdover from a previous script, I wonder if that wasn't a studio note. Where it wasn't like they thought audiences wouldn't buy that, and so he's pretending like it's his idea because it's his project, and so he's going to be the captain that goes down with the ship, and he is taking responsibility. It's a movie about responsibility for everything in the production, and so he says, well, like he's just being PR guy. Oh well, we've got that's partly his job, right? Like, I wonder if that's not what that was, because I have not heard him talk about it the way you were saying, that it's just Peter wouldn't have the resources. I remember him, and I could be wrong, but I remember Sam Raimi talking about it more like it was just a bridge too far, that like people wouldn't buy that it was physically possible that you could build a thing that would do that.
Well, we might just be maybe interpreting it a little bit differently, I guess, is maybe all it is. Because I thought it was they just wouldn't be able to find it believable that this teenager like built this thing, as opposed to just them existing. So maybe it's like he just has a statement, and we're both kind of looking at it from different perspectives.
I haven't heard him talk about that in a long time. I didn't see that in any back matter.
Yeah, no, same here. Same here.
Lucas Green 9821 has a super chat, $5 or £5 I should say. Thanks a lot for the support tonight. He says, Cap, how do you feel about these portrayals of MJ and Peter? Do you like it? If not, have you grown to like them through rewatch? Let's kind of put a pin in that and get into that more when we.
That is a big part of what we have to talk about.
Get into the film, because we'll have a big conversation about that. My shortened version is I like them a lot more in this movie. And then
with MJ, I like her more
most of my issues,
1 than 2 and 3.
Most of my issues are after this.
Mm-hmm. And then Toby, I've kind of just grown to be accepting of at this point.
Well,
like he's not exactly how I see Peter Parker, but like I'm just kind of fine with it with this take. Like,
I have the same thing, but if I remember to talk about it, I have maybe a new angle to bring to that this time around. Dan Schneider, $5 super chat. The organic web shooters are not as silly as people act like it is, but sadly, there are people who would have complained about that back then.
I mean, I don't like the organic web shooters. I do think they are silly, but that is like the most kind of Hollywoodized thing, I think, in this, or like one of them, where it's like, it's too weird and comic booky. That's how you simplify it. And
well, somehow
like, that's fine, but like
this seems weirder because you're thinking too much about how it works biologically and
organically. What I have.
Like, it's almost odder that way, and then in a weird way that makes it feel like a Sam Raimi choice, just because it's a weird, like, almost physical horror thing. If you think about it too much, I seriously do not think that was his idea.
Well, I think I've mentioned this in other videos, but as a kid, it always creeped me out because I would think about there's moments where like for example, in this movie, there's the part where he's behind the burglar and he comes down and then he raises back up. And as a kid, I always thought it was like the webs like retract back, and then that was like a whole other like, I don't want to think about this. That's too gross.
Yeah, we're already 15 minutes in. I've got things to talk about with both of those super chats. I may come back and reference them as a kind of placeholder so that I don't forget to make certain points. But anyway, thanks everybody for joining us tonight. We've got a nice crowd. Appreciate you guys. Thanks for the super chat support already. As always, we'll guarantee that we'll talk about your ideas and feelings and thoughts put in via super chat. Feel free to leave regular comments, and we'll try to get to some of them with these commentaries. Austin and I will often get kind of caught up in our own conversation, and it'll be hard to keep up with the chat. And so we may have to do what we did last week and kind of backtrack at the end and look at a few, but we'll try to keep up with it some as we go. And a quick plug for Patreon. If you'd like to become a Patreon producer, you can do that at the $10 tier, and that gives you cool perks like I will read your name at the end of each show. I'm going to do that tonight, and you can help us pick some movies for review or for commentary, and we do a Patreon hangout each month or around each month with the producers and other cool things like that. And also, I forgot to put out the note today until late today for mini reviews, so feel free to get those in. That's just at the $5 tier, and you can also leave one live via super chat, and we'll read them if for sure if they come in via super chat. If you write a regular one, I'll try to hit those too, but I'll guarantee definitely we'll do it via super chat. Okay, is everybody ready to get into the thing? Let's watch the movie. Here we go.
Yep.
I've got the cool old Target like storybook collection, and I know Austin told me that he's got this still somewhere. He's got the 4K now.
I do. Yeah, I just picked up the 4K trilogy because I've just been in like a Raimi mood. So I've got my Amazon cart is full of Raimi 4Ks, but I also have that. I bought that so that I could watch the Spider-Man 3 editor's cut because that's what it was released with, and then I never watched that cut. So what can you do?
And I did, and wished I hadn't. People made a big deal out of how different it was, and it wasn't different enough to make a difference for me. I should have just read the list, but I notoriously disliked that movie, and it didn't make it any better, so I didn't love having to sit through it again. That'll be fun when we get there.
I'm genuinely interested in talking about Spider-Man 3 because I think it is an interesting mess. But we'll get there when we get there.
We'll see if it still irritates me as much as it did the last time I saw it. I don't know. Anyway, everybody get ready to press play when I say now. Make sure that you're past all the menus and things if you're watching on DVD or Blu-ray. And this movie, of course, is available on Disney Plus if you want to watch it streaming. I'm just about to say press play, and here we go. Everybody, please press play right now. And then the drums are gonna kick in, Austin.
It's Danny Elfman.
Those drums always stick with me.
Don't love the score in these, but I get.
Danny Elfman's choice with the percussion at the beginning of this is like somebody walking across a picket fence with a with like a wooden plank or something.
Yeah. That's funny.
It's great. Always gets me in the mood for these.
This is like super loud.
I love it. So what did you say about the score? Did you say you're not a big fan of the score of these? I just didn't hear what you said.
As like a Spider-Man, I just don't think it fits Spider-Man super well. Like as a score for a movie, I think it's good, but it's like this isn't really what I think of when I think of Spider-Man. It's more what I was saying.
What mode do you want it to be in more?
I don't even know. I think it's just like, especially like the kind of grand like choir.
Is it too orchestral and bombastic?
Just, like, build up. I think it's just too bombastic.
And does it sound too much like Batman?
I guess to a degree. It's more, and I have this kind of throughout the trilogy where, and it's part of my whole thing of, I think you kind of need Marvel as a whole for part of why Spider-Man's interesting, where with him being the only one here, there is kind of just like a Superman element to Spider-Man that I don't think fits that character. And the score is kind of part of that, where it's very big and bombastic in a way that I just wouldn't associate with Spider-Man.
Yeah, that's fair.
And these credits are very Superman. Not in like that they're exactly Donner Superman, but like just like how long we're taking on them and like the kind of webs flying out at you. That kind of reminds me of that.
Yeah, and at the time I thought that was a really great choice because it makes it feel a little old Hollywood, and it makes it feel like a big deal event, and it was.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a lot of just old Hollywood kind of stuff in this movie.
With credits like this, there's this feeling of anticipation where you're in the movie and you've been in it for a few minutes already, with like little glimpses of a drawn version of the hero you're going to see that's like classic comic Spider-Man, but you don't know what the world looks like yet. And you're like, ooh, what's it gonna look like? Mm-hmm. And 89 has that.
Yeah, exactly.
Superman has that.
Well, I think we talked about it. We've done Darkman, yeah.
Yeah.
I think we talked about it there, where Darkman is the midpoint between the score and 89 score, and that if you go watch Darkman, you're like, oh, here's Batman. Oh, here's Spider-Man. Oh, Batman, Spider-Man.
It's interesting how much holdover there still is in certain ways from what I've always thought of as the like Burton Batman era, where like we just could not get away from that through the 90s, and then all the ways that we have already gotten away from that.
Well, I think in a lot of ways, this is 89 for a new generation.
Yeah.
Like I think it has some of the same pros and cons. The only thing is I think this is more, I don't think this is more of a character piece than 89 is.
No, it absolutely is. And the biggest difference between this and 89, it probably goes without saying, is that this was made by somebody that already loved this character and has reverence for it and isn't trying to just take his own sensibilities and transplant them on a concept that he's otherwise not all that interested in. And I'm like, I'm the biggest 89 fan in the world, and I recognize that Burton is not a Batman guy.
But like 89, this is a director with a very specific style who gets to come onto this character, and we don't really water that down. We just let them make a movie about that character.
Well, and there's similar directors in the period of time that they're in with this too, where, I mean, Raimi had probably made more movies by this point. Actually, that's not even debatable. He had made more movies by this point than Burton had by the time he made 89.
Before 89.
Burton had made 2 movies, and Raimi had already made the Evil Dead movies, and he had Darkman, and like he had a whole decade plus career
movie
by this point.
Yeah, he's probably at like, it's probably like past like 10 movies, I think, for him.
But where they're similar is he hadn't done a big studio movie yet, and so this is a situation where big studios go to hardworking, kind of smaller time directors. I mean, Burton.
Yeah.
That's not quite right, because he had made, like, his movies were studio movies, but they weren't the size 89 was. They like anything close to that.
Yeah, no, I think the biggest budgeted film Raimi had worked on by this point before this was maybe like 30 million. Like he'd kind of worked his way up and then gets this.
Norman, you're a multi-millionaire, if not a billionaire. You wouldn't have to trade in your Rolls Royce for a Jetta. You could just also have a Jetta.
You know, I'm something of a Jetta driver myself.
So you want me to trade my car for what? No, I want you to just drive a different one. John Bradley, $02, $1.99 super chat. One of you guys has to get up and go to McDonald's. No, sir, that was Spider-Man 2, okay? That was not this movie.
No, it's Spider-Man 1.
Was it really? I thought that was 2.
It's Spider-Man 1, yeah. I was thinking about it all day. I'm like, at some point, one of us has to leave.
I almost made a reference to... No, because it's not a Mania, so we have to actually sit here and do the job. We can't play Jenga. No, we can't play 007. We can't play Goldeneye.
Having to get food.
For anybody that doesn't know what we're talking about, I did a series years ago with Eric, who used to be with me on the channel, and it was Marvel Mania, and we did some silly gimmicks. And one of them I just came up with in the middle of apparently this movie, where I was like, dude, I could really go for some McDonald's. And I just got up and I left and I went and got McDonald's. Brought it back.
Because I've watched that commentary many times, and every time I have to get up and get food. So I'm like, I'm also hungry.
And Eric just had to...
So it's like I have to plan it around that.
He just had to do 25 minutes by himself.
Yeah. So one thing I just think is like a funny observation that I've had since I was a child, which is the teacher actor here is too young for how old these high schoolers look.
Yes, I had that today.
I just think he's one of them.
I had never... Well, I never had that thought before.
Why is the student telling them off?
This also watches real different now because there's like some monicum of discipline in high school, like in public school. It's like this high school teacher is allowed to give it detention. There's a lot of not that anymore.
Well, he's got like the ultimate whisper voice too. He's got like a very
talking
specific voice.
through that woman's entire presentation.
But which is a big strength of this movie is that it has like 8,000 extras that are all memorable.
Yeah, they're all great.
That all get like 2 or 3 lines.
And honestly, the whole series has that.
Yes.
Like 2 has he stole that guy's pizzas, and 3 has like this. Is there like a screaming chick with glasses on the street toward the beginning that's memorable, or is that 2? I forget.
It's in 2. You have both that, and I think you're mixing it up with the woman that screams in the building. Because I think the one on the street doesn't have glasses.
Yeah, push the X. And I don't want to get too into this right now, but I just keep hearing a lot of horror stories with public school these days of teachers having their hands tied behind their backs and not allowed to like really discipline children in any way whatsoever. And so I go back and I look at this movie and I'm like, I don't know if this guy would even be allowed to do some of what he's doing here. Austin, how do you...
The trailer shot.
Austin, how do you feel about the spider that bites Peter Parker being in the color scheme of the costume, and that inspiring Peter Parker to go with said color scheme when he designs the costume?
So that is silly. At the same time, I do like that it gives it kind of like a otherworldly kind of look to it. So like, I like that aspect of it. But yes, it is undeniably silly that it's the exact same colors. But I mean, Sam Raimi is also a silly guy. Like, he was probably giggling, behind the camera at that. I had a big thing here where he walks up and is like, "Hey, can I take your picture?" Where I was like, "Oh man, in the next reboot, he won't even ask. He would just do, and then keep that picture and tell no one." So I'm instantly like, "Oh, this is so much more endearing."
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff like that that used to irritate me more, like the spider is red and blue, and that feels like almost a CW TV sort of choice. That is kind of part of the charm of it more for me now. And I hate to look back with rose-tinted glasses and say all these things are fine now because it's old and I missed this period of time. Like, there's still stuff that I don't like that I'll complain about. But I guess I just don't feel as strongly about certain things now. And that in particular, it's like, well, it's a mutated super spider. It would probably look really weird and different. So there's that. And then I also kind of like, if you've got to do that Peter tries a bunch of different designs for the suit and then thinks back. In that montage, you actually see the spider walk across the screen, sort of suggesting that he remembered in that moment what it looked like and was like, "Oh, those colors might work." And so it's not a coincidence.
Like, that entire scene...
And so that's good.
Mm-hmm. No, and that entire scene is that woman essentially telling us Spider-Man's powers. Where we're going from spider to spider, and she's like, and this spider can, like, jump really far, and this spider can, like, lift things up real good.
No, well, I kind of like
definitely
that.
There to also give you an idea of Spider-Man.
Yeah, it's good exposition for an audience that's not familiar with what Spider-Man's powers are. It's good for kids watching it, and it's not too forced because those are things that Spider-Man will do later. But what I don't like about it is, sorry, we're already looking at other things I want to complain about or I want to talk about. But there is there's that line that Harry had, or that Peter has to Harry that he'll repeat to Mary Jane, because he's being a big jerk and he's stealing all of Peter's spider tidbits and trying to use them to get chicks, or to get the chick he wants. Even that's going to be a motif through the whole movie. Peter is like the best friend ever, that he will hang on to Harry Osborn for any period of time. But anyway, he's got that line where he's like, some spiders can change their colors to blend into the environment, and I'm like, that's not a power that Peter Parker. Like, I want that to also be a power he has.
But like, he kind of has that in that he like takes his costume off and now he blends into the environment.
Oh, okay.
So, like, even that is kind of,
that's a stretch.
You kind of have like an element of it.
It's a stretch because
it's a stretch, sure.
It's a giant stretch because every other power that's mentioned in that is something that he will get through the spider bite. What you're talking about is an allegorical thing. That's not a power.
Mm-hmm. No, it's not a power, but like it is still a thing he's going to be doing.
Okay, so let's backtrack for a second and talk about Quest.
Yeah.
I'm going to talk about Quest a lot because I have new thoughts about this whole thing. So the general comes in and he says, Norman, I never supported your project. You've got Dr. Strom, who's the one guy that says we can't go through to human trials. We gotta go back to formula, and you got back to formula. And then you got the general guy, and he says, I never supported your project. You have my predecessor to thank for that. For 24 years, I have been confused on this point. I have no idea what the hell he's talking about. And it feels like something is missing. Like, there's no discussion of it. I don't know what that means. I don't know who was in charge of this project before. I don't know why he left. I don't know if he died. What is he talking about?
Well, he's just saying that, like, when the person that was the general before him, like, greenlit this as like a project that they were funding, and then he took over, and now they're just already in the middle of this, and he's like, oh, I don't even believe in this, so like I'm going to use any excuse I can to get out of it because I don't like this guy.
That's an interpretation, but it always read to me like there was a whole backstory behind it that they just didn't get into. Like, because he doesn't say you have, and I don't want to get too in the weeds with it, but he doesn't say that the predecessor is why he's there. He's like, that's the reason I don't support the project. Like, I need more information. Like why do you not support this project over the Quest project? What is it exactly about? Is it personal with Norman? Is it that he just doesn't think the enhancers can work and that they're too dangerous? Like, it always read petty to me. Like, he really hates Norman Osborn for some reason, and I don't know what it is.
Yeah. No, I think he just doesn't like Norman Osborn, because there's a couple lines after this where he's like, I would be so happy to see Norman go out of business.
Yeah.
So I do think it is just I don't like Norman Osborn thing. And I don't like this person that I'm now stuck having to work with because my old boss was the one who greenlit this project. I think that's all it is.
I guess. I need more information, though. I want to know what their history is. I don't need a ton, but I want to know just why he doesn't like Norman Osborn as much as he does. And I feel like there's a lot of little details like that could be used to flesh out like Norman's motivations more, and really bring the parallel that is present but not present enough for me between him and Peter Parker, and really every character for the most part in the movie, because it's a film. I don't know if I've ever said this before, but this is a film about characters who all have something to prove, and who have to like try to pretend to be something they're not in order to in order to get the reputation that they want. And because of that, they'll use their power irresponsibly. And Peter falls into that trap as well, and then learns that earlier than a lot of these, even sometimes older characters will. And so everybody is a reflection of that in some way.
Yeah, exactly. No, and Norman is the most 89 thing in this, in that he's essentially the Joker, and that I think he's kind of underwritten, but
Yeah.
the actor brings a lot to it. The difference being here, though, that I don't really care about Jack Nicholson's Joker, while I do like Defoe in this role, and I think he would just be a good Green Goblin in general. Like if it was more comic book Green Goblin.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I like what's here, but it's not, his character's not fleshed out enough. He seems to really have a chip on his shoulder and really cares about what people think of him and making his mark on the world and having, like, coming up with that big breakthrough that will put him in the history books. And I need anything about his background at all that leads him to that. And as soon as you had that, it would also uh, probably illuminate his relationship with his son also. Because I want to assume there's a lot of things I want to tack onto this that aren't here, right? Like, I want to assume that the relationship that Norman has with his son is probably a cyclical thing that goes back to his relationship with his own father, that might go back to the relationship with his father's father, and we don't know that. We don't have any information whatsoever about his parentage. And I could have used some of that.
Yeah, when I mean, I definitely say like the sense I get is obviously Norman's very self-made, I would think, and Harry obviously isn't, and has like no drive in life.
Yeah, well, there's that.
Like that's obviously a big
But that doesn't mean that he
aspect
might
of that.
not have still had like in obsession with proving something to his father or living up to his father, and that might be why he built this empire.
Yeah,
And like that might not be there,
definitely.
but he is so desperate to prove something to someone, like everybody in this. And so, like, for instance, we know what Peter's motivation is with that. That he doesn't like being the pathetic outcast, and that there's this girl that he likes that isn't paying attention to him. Like, all of that is pretty typical, but we know what the motivation is. He's going to try to get a car to impress his girlfriend. Like, we know what his motivation is. With Mary Jane, she has to become one of the popular kids in order to hide the fact that she has this really horrible abusive home life. We know what her motivation is. I don't know where exactly it comes from with Norman, and that's a really important relationship to a really important character and motivation to understand. Not just because of the way he parallels Spider-Man, but because he's going to have such a psychosis. Where, like, something has to be deep-seated, messed up in a person that they have a fractured personality that way. Now, you could say it's just the serum and it would do that to anyone, but they had multiple animal trials, and only one of them went poorly. I want to make the assumption that the exact same thing would not happen to every person that took it, and even if it made you go kind of crazy or feral or something, it wouldn't necessarily fracture everybody's personalities the way it does with him. Like, that seems to be some deep-rooted, deep-seated thing.
Mm-hmm. No, because it completely breaks him to the point where for the last half of this movie, he's going to have no motivation outside of just being crazy.
Yeah, well, and
he might as well go full Ultimate Green Goblin and just start screaming about the circles.
Yeah, the only motivation he has really is the same, but to a more, like, crazy person, insane degree, that Norman has at the beginning with desperately trying to prove his serum by taking it prematurely. Which, by the way, even if that worked, like, everyone, like the general, his board, everybody would think he was insane, and nobody would want to work with him and have him around. It'd be like, so if things don't go your way and you get desperate enough, you'll just take a premature concoction before it's ready and use yourself as a human trial. Yeah, no. And it's clearly not that hard to vote him out of the board. So that's what would have happened even if that was successful. I think.
Mm-hmm. No, very true, very true. I like that we get that little flash of the Daily Bugle on that truck already. Like it's nice that we're gonna world building in that way. And of course, I really like how Raimi visualizes the spider sense stuff in this.
Yeah, absolutely.
Especially compared to like, look, when you compare all three iterations at this point, like he has much more of a visual flair for things like that. And it really stands out just in the overall, Spider-Man film history.
Well, and there are things that just become too routine, or that we emphasize so much in this trilogy, in this series, that we avoid or ignore largely later on.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
And so there's an advantage to some of this just being new in the first place.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And a disadvantage to having to just to give the other two franchises a little bit of credit. There's a disadvantage in having to recreate something that's been done already and so soon afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
So the biggest,
yeah, for sure. No, and they both have. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, you're fine. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, yeah, and like they both, kind of handle it differently and like do some things right, some things wrong.
I'll go back to stuff I was saying about Norman Osborn later. The biggest problem with the organic webbing, and now they didn't have to contrive the scene in the lunchroom the way they contrived it, I suppose. But the biggest problem with it is that because he's making webbing come out of his arm before he's in costume, people in the school should put together that he's Spider-Man. That's the biggest problem with it for me. Is like, this kid was walking around with webbing, and you were all laughing at him trying to pull a tray through a door, and then Spider-Man shows up and no one puts that together.
Yeah. I mean, so I have mixed feelings about it. That scene's kind of wonky. I don't really like it, but we will also do that exact scene way worse in other movies. And then, like, Spider-Man's also just always bad at holding his secret identity. So, like, there is part of me that's fine with that as well. But obviously, we're not going to really play into that as a thing here.
Well, the bigger problem,
it's going too far.
The biggest reason it's an issue for me with this specifically, because you're right, that's a problem all over the place, is because we also do the same thing, kind of, with Norman Osborn, where nobody puts that together either, and it makes everybody look really stupid. It does not make sense that Norman should be able to disintegrate his whole board and no one thinks, gee, I wonder if it's the CEO that started the company that just got voted out that wanted all these people dead. Like, who's your prime suspect? Why is there no investigation? Why is there no police work whatsoever in this movie?
Well, by that point, Oscorp's kind of just out of the movie. So it's like, I don't know, I guess they're just all gone.
Yeah, but he's still got his house. He's still rich. There's no discussion about him losing anything. Like, the way it plays is he gets rid of his board and then, well, I want to say he just keeps his company. We don't talk about it. I mean, you're right. Like, who
That's
knows?
what I'm saying. Like, it's gone from the movie by that point. Like, he kills the board of directors and there's no more. Oscorp.
But regardless,
in this movie, which is a thing.
There would still be an investigation about who murdered those people, and he should be the prime suspect.
That's what I was about to say. Is this is the thing that the game does that I wish was in this movie, which is that after the fight when Spider-Man gets cut by the razor bet, there's like a whole section in the game where Spider-Man then goes and starts like looking into the Green Goblin and like breaks into Oscorp and stuff. I wish some of that was in this movie. It would help to make Peter feel a little bit more proactive about things.
Yeah, because that's one of the biggest issues with him as a character in this, is both in costume and with the relationship stuff, is that he's just not proactive enough. And I can forgive it a little
just across
bit.
The whole trilogy.
Yeah, well, I can forgive it a little bit more on the relationship side if he's learning and growing. But the problem is he kind of just stays that way, and that was sort of, I'll just say this real quick, that was sort of the big point that I alluded to earlier that I wanted to make, Austin, when you said, and I completely agree with you, I had this from the start when this was in the theater, that this guy's not really who I picture as Peter Parker, but there are snippets in his performance of what he might do with it were the character allowed to mature more. And the biggest issue I have with through the trilogy is that he's kind of held back and forced to give the same performance all the way through. And you could have had a really great transformation from the mousy kid that's really unsure of himself and can't even hardly get through a sentence when he's trying to talk to a girl. And wouldn't it be really great if by the end of 3 he's like really like grown into his role, and you have a real from boy to man kind of thing. So like this is supposed to be a coming of age story. I think from start to finish, obviously they didn't know for sure they would get sequels, but start to finish, it would have been, and I know they were supposed to be more than 3, it would have been really cool if at least over a trilogy you could have had a even more grand coming of age story.
Yeah. Well, I think for me too, because Raimi's take is so like Ramita's Spider-Man, and it feels like we kind of from that point went back and made what we thought was Ditko Spider-Man, because that's somewhat more of the area we're in right now. And because of that, we lose like that kind of dark streak, and it's kind of just replaced with he's kind of like a quirky dork. So like that's the part of it where like he's not really Spider-Man to me. But like it's a different take. Like I've kind of just come to live with it.
But like the arc I'm suggesting you even could do in one movie. You know, like he starts more dorky, and by the end of the movie, he's much more like stalwart superhero, and like he doesn't have to be Superman. Obviously, like he's still gonna be a lot more flawed than that. He's gonna make a lot of mistakes. But all I'm talking about is confidence. Like I just want Tobey Maguire to be allowed to give a more confident performance by the end, and he's not allowed to do that through the trilogy.
Yeah. He's maybe more confident in 3. I mean, he probably is, just because that movie opens with like everybody loves me. I'm having such a good time.
It's not the right flavor of confidence. It's too superficial. Yeah. It's based on everyone loves me now, and then you can tell as soon as he would lose that, he would drop right back to where he is here, and that's one of the things that made this, even in the theater, Austin, feel too much like Smallville to me. And 2 especially has that because it's those writers, but. With this, you've got a superhero that is not proactive enough, that spends a lot of time staring brutally just past camera, who has these really awkward, like ostensibly realistic conversations that don't go anywhere with Mary Jane. Some of them are better than others. Some of them I appreciate more now than I did at the time. Some of them I still find really awkward for no good reason. And then the biggest thing that makes it feel like that show is she's got to be the girl next door that they grew up right next to each other their whole lives, and she never gave them the time of day. And that was a trope that I was already tired of by this point when this came out.
Well, I think it makes sense. Like MJ is like a girl next door in some cases, but it's like at the same time, this movie kind of has its cake and eats it too, where she doesn't know he exists for like the first bit of this.
That's my problem.
All of a sudden, it's like they had more of a relationship. There's and like you said, there's some corny stuff. Like this scene is very corny, but I think that's like a thing through this whole script is there's just wonky dialogue from David Koepp where I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
I don't know about that one, dude. Like this scene specifically, it's the I hunch, don't. Like that's so awkward. It like sends a chill down my spine every time.
It's an attempt at writing believable awkward dialogue because teenagers are awkward, and you're not finding the right balance between being believable and letting your characters be likable. And like there's a
I agree that
there's a certain
go ahead sorry.
It's just a tough balance. Like you don't actually want movie dialogue, especially in something heightened like this. You don't actually want movie dialogue to be like perfectly realistic. You don't want it to get that awkward. It's got to be realistic within the bounds of the world.
No, and there's moments where it works and moments where it doesn't. I think one of the moments it does work is when they're outside of the restaurant she works with, and she's like, don't tell Harry. And there's like that awkward bit where she walks away, and you just like repeats it twice, and it's like kind of awkward. But like, I've been in conversations like that where people are just kind of weird in the moment, and like I think that one is works really well.
Well, and one thing I will really give it that I don't know. Maybe the last time I reviewed this, I talked about this, but I don't know if I have. Dr. Pepper, Dr. Pepper is very important for these movies.
We also needed a Bob Kane signature under that Spider-Man drawing.
Yeah, that would have been great. Somebody just writes John Romita under it, but it's not John Romita.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, who do you think that looks most like? I don't actually know who drew that.
I don't think it really looks like any specific Spider-Man artist. Like it just kind of it honestly does look like just somebody that's not a professional artist drew a picture of Spider-Man.
The era is kind of early mid 80s before it's anything. Like you're not quite to McFarlane, but you're past all the 70s stuff, I think. Like just design wise, it kind of looks like that period. Like the early like Michelini period. Not that he drew, but just that era.
That's
but anyway,
but that's the ultimate puberty scene. Is Aunt May's like, "What are you doing?" and he's shooting his webs in his bedroom.
I don't know what it is with all the Dr. Pepper product placement, but
Sam Raimi must be just a big fan of Dr. Pepper.
It's a lot of it. There's a lot more in two. Sorry, what was it? What were we talking about before Dr. Pepper?
Oh God. Just awkward dialogue and stuff like that.
Oh, there's something.
This scene's great though. Uncle Ben's perfect in this.
Yeah, and he's such a good foil for Norman Osborn because, like, obviously Norman's going to be the surrogate father figure after he dies. I wish we got a lot more of that because I feel like that's kind of the heart and the crux of the movie, and he and Peter do not have enough screen time together. And they're really interesting in scenes together, so I wish we had more of that to kind of contrast like his worldview and just the way he like interacts with people and moves through the world with Uncle Ben, because Uncle Ben and Aunt May are the only, from start to finish, truly authentic people in the movie. They're the only people that aren't trying to prove anything to anyone, and that's really important.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, of course.
And they're by the most responsible.
I guess if I could throw out a defense for the Norman thing, what I do like about that is that, like, he has this image of like, oh, I'm a father figure for you. So I kind of like that they don't have that much screen time, because it's like no, you don't. Like, I think that kind of plays a little bit better. But I also see where you're coming from. Like, you could have built that more, and then like had more of a dynamic there, I guess. But I do kind of like how he's like, I was a father for you. Like, no, you weren't. Like, you're barely in this man's life.
That's fair. Yeah. The idea that he is in like massive denial about that is good. but it would be more impactful for Peter at the end when he finds out that that's Norman if they had more of a relationship. So I think there's a balance where you can still have what you're talking about and give them more scenes together.
Yeah. No, that's completely fair. And here's the best character in the movie.
Hands
Macho
down.
Man Randy Savage.
I still need an action figure of Bonesaw. Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know if we've ever talked about this, but it's a thing that I like both in comics and in the movie, obviously, is I like that in this kind of comic booky world, wrestling just is the kayfabe wrestling. Like, it's not fake, it just is a thing that exists. Like, it is
sure.
That aura that you kind of hold up. I think that's a fun idea.
They treat it like boxing.
Campbell's best role in the trilogy. Yeah, exactly.
It's just boxing.
It's that kayfabe thing of just this is what wrestling is, and like obviously if you know behind the curtain it's not, but like it's kind of cool that like superheroes exist, so that wrestling also exists. Like that's kind of cool.
But yeah, before I get into this, because I have a lot of stuff to say about this, I want to finish the point I was making because I think you're onto something. I do like that Norman is like really insecure about both his image and his like ability to be a good father. And so the idea that he would kind of transplant that to Peter, where he's like, well, I didn't do a good job raising my son, but then here's this kid that I see more of myself in already, and then I could just like kind of convince myself that I had something to do with him turning out the way he's turned out. That's good.
Yeah. Well, especially
it's totally an inferiority complex.
Yeah, and because of that, I specifically love the line, I have been a father to you, now you be a son to me, where it's like...
You owe me something, I gave you this. And it's like, what has he actually done for Peter? He just tried to, like, his alter ego just tried to murder all of his loved ones.
A bunch of children, too.
Now, he did offer him a job, and he declined. Like, he attempted to do things for him. You just never allowed it. Okay, so can I talk about the wrestling thing for a bit? Because I've been on for years and years about the you pinned him in 2, and for that I give you 100 thing. And that is still irksome, but I thought of new issues with it. First of all, I think I agree with Jason because he and I were talking about this movie today. When he says, the human spider is much more of a wrestling name than Spider-Man?
I don't know. I could see either being a wrestling name.
But when he's like, oh, that sucks, like, I could almost see it going, like flipping it the other way, where he comes in and has come up with Spider-Man, and then Bruce Campbell is like, no, you should be the human spider. No, that's terrible. You got my name wrong. And then he goes back to Spider. I could see it going the other way, even.
I think Human Spider sounds more like a wrestler that wouldn't go over. We're like, it's the Human Spider. And people are like, what is this guy? While Spider-Man sounds more like a thing that would maybe catch on.
Guys, we'll get back to Super Chats here in a little bit, and thanks for all the support. So here's a thought I never had before, I don't think. And then watch, you'll go back to it in old commentary, and I've said this. But so when he goes to the promoter later, and he goes to get his cash, what is happening in the wrestling ring? Like,
I'm probably just doing more matches. That or it's over. It could just be over.
But here's my question, okay? Clearly this was supposed to keep going on for a while, and maybe they have more wrestlers in reserve, but Bonesaw gets beaten by him, and clearly the whole point with the newspaper ad is see how long you can last, not we think anybody in this crowd has any chance at beating this wrestler. Like, they should be shocked and dismayed that this 15-year-old kid, who, by the way, shouldn't have even been allowed to do this, I don't know how they're able to, like, have him sign any paperwork to come in here and do this at that age.
he might be closer to. Well, he's at least 17. He might be 18 because like he is about to graduate.
Okay, maybe that's possible. No, you're right. I always think he's supposed to be younger, but you're right. He is just about to go to college. That's true. I'm conflating it because
we're going back to Stan Lee
Spider-Man movies.
Whereas Stan Lee Spider-Man is probably closer to like 17, and over time we've aged him down.
Here's my point, though. The way that should work, or at least there should be some discussion about it, is he wins the match. Why isn't there any talk about? And we're said, and Bruce Campbell says we have a new champion.
Yeah.
Why isn't he fighting more guys? Like, I could have seen a montage where he wrestles all night and is fighting all these other people that come in. And then when he goes to the... Here's the way I would rewrite this scene without losing very much at all about what the point of this is. Peter could get really greedy. He could keep fighting all night long, go to the boxing promoter, and the promoter only gives him the $3,000 because that's what he was offered. And he says, hey, I've been fighting all night long. Like, I beat all these other guys. I clearly deserve more money than that. And he says, nah, I told you $3,000, that's what you get. He gives him the $3,000, and then the rest of the scene could play out exactly the same way it does.
Yeah. I think they're just mad because they're like, oh, this guy hates gay people.
Sure.
He comes in, he's like, Bonesaw, what are you, gay? No, but no, I mean that's fair. That's like a way to redo it.
But I think that something like that would have been more effective because then like it becomes about how greedy he is, and I don't know. You wouldn't really lose anything with it. And then like the promoter still would seem like a jerk, but you could see how he gets away with it because the 2 minutes for 100. I don't see how I don't know. I've never understood how he gets away with that. I don't see how that, and it's such a high profile looking thing. I don't see how he operates past a week. Like, he gets sued into oblivion on a weekly basis.
Yeah, maybe it was ahead of its time though. After some of the like Vince McMahon stuff that's come out with like official wrestling, but no, that's completely fair. Like it's weird,
and it always watched to me like it was kind of maybe illegal and underground, but also very, very clearly high profile, and anybody can walk in there. Like it looks like it cannot decide how legal the thing is.
That's where it's maybe like ahead of its time, where it's like you find out there was like sex trafficking happening under the WWE and stuff, where it's like it's just like weird illegal shenanigans going down. But I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying like crazy underhanded, hiding in plain sight stuff doesn't happen, but that just seems so weirdly egregious.
Yeah, no, it's. Like I said, it's completely fair.
I know, I've complained about this a lot, but that was an angle I'd never thought of before, which is, why doesn't Peter become the champion and keep fighting? And that would have been a way to give him the whole comic wrestling career in a single evening. Like, instead of going in and fighting one guy, he could like really, and that's why he's like, hey, I deserve more than 3,000. He's basking in the glory of this. For like 6 hours, he is a wrestler.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I guess the reason is really just to like cut it down on time, but like,
yes, absolutely.
You could add like 5-10 minutes of this. Like, I see where you're coming from.
You could have done a montage in a minute and a half. You wouldn't have had to add all that much time. I'm belaboring this, but it was a thing I thought of today that I've never thought of before. I don't think. And then, of course, as I've always said, I really like the makeshift crappy Spider-Man suit, and then I just don't understand how he's able to make the one he actually makes. I guess
if we're not going to explain it, I'm kind of glad we don't have to stop and like be like, okay, and then like he did this and this. Like, I guess I kind of like that it's hand waved, but like at the same time, like I do agree with you in that I don't buy that he could actually make that.
Well, it's just
I also think it's. Oh, go ahead.
It's just that the makeshift suit draws attention to his lack of resources. If you didn't have that, if you just showed up at the wrestling ring wearing the regular Spider-Man suit, I wouldn't think anything of it.
Well, now he's got the $100.
That's what I've always said, is that somehow that suit only costs $100 to make. I think more of it is supposed to just be time. It's like, oh, he went to this wrestling match and he didn't have any time to make it, and then I guess he has enough time to make the regular suit, and so we're not supposed to think about how much it would cost to make. But I don't feel like the movie communicates that well enough, because going all the way back to the theater, I was like, the point of this suit is it's cheap and he doesn't have anything. And I also think
we're not supposed to think of it as expensive as that suit would actually be. Like, I do think there's
that's fair. Too. But I mean, it's not even that it looks like a really high dollar like movie suit. It's that we have this huge contrast between the Osborns and the Parkers, and this this very like small what's the word I'm looking for?
We're just in like the rich man versus the like down to earth people, which I think you still have an aspect of even with the really expensive Spider-Man suit, just because Green Goblin's got like an armored metallic suit.
I mean, look, I'm glad Osborn doesn't make it for him or something. Like we like I'm glad it wasn't the Iron Man thing. Like we don't need that in this, but
yeah, definitely. No, and the guy who plays the robber here, of course, is really good. And because it's Sam Raimi, it has to be the car he lost his virginity in is the car that he steals from Uncle Ben. Because he has to fit that car into every movie.
Yep. It's an appropriate car, though. That car was well cast.
It was, yeah. I love the Oldsmobile. I actually almost bought that like exact car for my first car, and then went, I don't know if I can justify buying a car like way older than me as my first car. But I
that's what you're supposed to do for your first car.
Yeah.
Sorry, modest was the word I was trying to think of earlier. They live in a modest house.
Oh yeah, you're good. Yeah.
You know, luxury kind of like the Osborns have. So way back in the day when I first did a scripted review of this, I complained that it looks very ambiguous as to whether Peter like is kind of responsible for the burglar's death. Looking closer at it here, I think it's edited more properly than I gave it credit for before. Like the way there's a cut in where the burglar trips over something on the floor and falls backwards, and there's no cut to Peter like coming at him or anything. Like, even though 3 kind of comes back and asked the same question I did in that review, which is how responsible is he for that? Because it kind of comes back up. Going back and looking at it now, I don't know if I was right about that. I don't know that it's actually that ambiguous about it.
And admittedly, I always disagreed with that as a criticism, just because I think it works in the movie. Where it's coming from, where he's maybe in the wrong, is just that he obviously has pleasure out of it. But
yes.
Like, you would in that moment. Like I can't even really begrudge him of that. But yeah, I don't think he, has any actual part in doing it. Like, I think they do a good job of showing that guy just tripped.
So, I'll never understand the like manned drone thing with Quest. That thing just seems.
As a kid, I always thought that had to be a comic thing. I'm like, is that supposed to be like a different Spider-Man villain? Like, what is that?
It just seems like a completely useless design to me. It takes forever to take off. The guy, like, it's bulky. The guy can't hardly move in the thing, and I'm like, look, it's already 2002. Instead of screwing around with this thing, why aren't we just putting all of our resources into actual remote drone technology? It makes no sense we're working on this thing.
But he flies as fast as Ironmonger does. I keep waiting for him to be like, Norman, you upgraded
You
your
upgraded
glider.
your armor. Like with the glider, you can see the application for that more, but you still, I feel like would just want to work on drones. Like I don't understand why either of those things is necessarily better than an airplane.
Well, now I'm just thinking of like the Jurassic World thing where Vincent D'Onofrio is like, I want to put raptors in Iraq.
Yeah, exactly.
Goblins, like just flying along. That is kind of silly, you're right?
Which is hilarious because this is the Jurassic Park writer, but I don't think he wrote that movie.
No, I don't think so. I think he only did the first two and then the new one.
So let me get into my quest spiel real quick. Tell me if you agree with this, because this is another thought I had today that I don't think I've had before. So Norman, when he, or I guess the Green Goblin, the first thing he does is when he gets that personality is he jumps on his glider and he goes and he blows up the quest experiment and the and the general and all of that, and then he goes to the board meeting later. I'm going to get ahead of us a little bit in the movie so I can make this point. But he goes to the board meeting, and he basically says, our stocks are up, everything's going great, now that these people got murdered. Isn't it wonderful? And then the board is like, yeah, no, you're out, Osborn, and we're selling the company to the company that the Green Goblin just went and killed those people of. That's not a good sentence, but I'll move on. I don't understand why Green Goblin doesn't then go kill everyone in that company. Because, like, for being part of ruining his life. Because he's been ejected from his own company. And then he's going to go kill the board. And then after that, he just kind of, like, runs around and basks in his power and tries to get Spider-Man to join him, and I don't even know what he's trying to accomplish after that. Besides, like killing people that he feels like have wronged Harry Osborn to make Osborn feel better about the mistakes he's made as a father. That's in there somewhere. But beyond that, it's a lot more, like, we're not even going to rule the city or any, like classic comic book stuff. It's just, we can create things, or we can destroy things. And I'm like, what are you going to create? What are you talking about? Like I don't know. We can create
he's just
things.
An insane person rambling.
Yeah, he's just rambling. Why doesn't he go kill Quest?
I mean, yeah, I think it is just more like a personal, like, these people that work with me spited me, so, like, I'm more angry at them than I am at that other company. So, like, I do think that is a big part of it.
Yeah, but he also kills some of Quest.
Yeah, I mean,
it's probably more about that general.
The Oscorp thing stops being in this movie.
And I mean, to be fair, the main reason he does that is to get the company more on top, and then that actually works, and then they try to get rid of him because they want to sell the company, and he wasn't anticipating that happening.
Yeah, no, for sure. So we talked over it, but that last scene with Peter and Aunt May, I think, is one of my favorite scenes of the movie. I think that's really well done, and just the writing is really on point in that scene. Like, I've been in those exact conversations. And then here, this whole sequence is really missing that, like, that big heist sequence that they shot. Where, like, it feels like we're building to something, and then he's just kind of there now. Like, it really, you can tell that we're missing his to
Yeah. No, that's a good point. It's a montage to just establish that he's going around solving crimes.
Yeah, and, like, it feels like, because we're not seeing him, and then it's like, oh, and now he's here. So, like, it just kind of feels like, and I think it's something you only know, like, you only really realize if you know that sequence is missing.
Yeah. Because once you know that, it watches oddly cheap because it's mostly just cutaways to people talking.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And we get like the one shot of it because we still have the World Trade Center in his eye shot. But
Yeah.
that's kind of. But it feels like there's like a big missing like, and now Spider-Man, like here he is, boom.
And there just wouldn't have been time to reshoot that, and
No,
wouldn't have been money to
it's very
reshoot that.
unfortunate.
Because I'm sure there was a lot of visual effects involved in that, obviously.
Yeah. Yeah, you maybe could have repurposed what you had, but like
That'd be
like
tough.
Exactly.
The whole framing of that was we're putting a helicopter like between the World Trades. I don't know how you get around that.
Yeah.
Assuming that the trailer, the teaser stuff was exactly that sequence, I always assumed it must have been part of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely.
Because like I think the framing of that teaser was supposed to be a little bit different than what's in the movie. Like I think you would have seen stuff in that teaser that wouldn't have made the movie, but all of that framing was part of that big action scene.
Well, yeah, I feel like that is a montage built around that as a kind of sequence where like we're kind of montaging through things and then we're seeing like a big moment of like, and there he is.
Yeah.
Is that entire montage is building to it, and then he just kind of walks on screen and he's Spider-Man.
Is it possible that some of the like interviews with city folk in that sequence were reshoots because they couldn't use that heist footage? Like, is it possible they didn't have that in the first place?
Maybe.
Because now that you say that, it kind of watches like a replacement, and so I just wondered.
It could be. I assumed it would just all be together, but like that's possible too.
Well, what's weird about it though is that sequence, if the teaser is to be believed, would have been set at night.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But I guess all of that was during the day.
That was all during the day. It would have been a little bit weird cutting back and forth. Unless you saw all of the heist sequence and then you have the montage.
But some of that must have been at least dusk, no? Because like the eye shot is from that sequence, so like that.
It's like 3 seconds. I think they're hoping you won't notice.
But the sun's like in that shot, so like there must be. Yeah,
I remember. Look, it's been years. I remember that teaser being black night.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, maybe it's been too long since I've watched that teaser.
I might pull it up in a little bit and just get a glimpse of it because I mean it's out there. We can look at it.
Yeah, because that was also, of course, like the initial poster too.
Yes.
Was that with the World Trade Center in his eye? Like that was a big part of the early marketing.
Sorry, there's so much stuff I want to talk about right now. So
we're like moving in a clip.
I know.
It's hard.
I believe it's this scene where Harry Osborn is refusing to tell Peter that he's dating Mary Jane, and then when it comes up that like with Norman, there's this girl he's dating, who is she, and he won't say, and then Harry gets really nervous, and then the next thing he does, he's like, oh hey Dad, you can get Peter a job, right? Like he's just a terrible friend. It's really funny.
Yeah, no, that's true.
And like,
we got Dr. Connors, which doesn't fit, but like that's cool.
And like, yeah, you know, there's a few like kind of retcons like that where you get a mention of Eddie, who's supposed to be Eddie Brock, in the Daily Bugle, and then that's retcon because we're gonna see him come to the Daily Bugle in the first place in 3. He's not been around by that movie, and I think there's even supposed to be a sequence with an Eddie Brock.
Oh, really?
But I remember this rumored or talked about. I don't know if it was filmed, but like I thought there was supposed to be an Eddie Brock sequence.
Okay. Well, and that's the type of thing that like I'm fine with because like it's just there as an Easter egg.
Yeah.
And then we will figure out a thing to do with that character later. So like I'm fine with stuff like that. Like it happens.
It's cooler if it actually all fits together. It's not wrong. Like it works okay. It could just be some other dude named Eddie. It's whatever. But if it all fit together, then you could say that it's like really good foreshadowing, and that it's that they got forethought, you know.
And the Connors one is funny in that it is what they're doing with him in 2, but like it's just like slightly different because here he's like, oh, I got fired from that job with him. Well, it'll be, I'm failing his class in the next one, but it is for the same reason. So it's kind of funny that you have that.
No, wait a minute. So Peter is upset that he doesn't get. I'm gonna go back to this. That he doesn't get $3,000. The guy only gives him $100, and then he goes to J. Jonah Jameson with pictures he took of himself and is offered twice that amount and balks at it.
But then he balks at it, and then he gets 300.
He goes 200. That's true. But he's like, that seems a little low, and I'm like, that's twice what you got from the promoter at the wrestling match, and you only took a picture of yourself.
But see, he's learning.
It is hard to take pictures of yourself, though.
He's standing up for himself.
No, I know.
And with the picture thing,
I just think
I've never liked that they're just production stills. Like they don't look like pictures.
No, that doesn't work. I always forget this is Elizabeth Banks. It's such a young Elizabeth Banks.
Yeah,
and she's got a weird haircut. And so like I don't even see her in that scene.
Well, she has she has the bob cut that Betty has.
Also, you gotta love that Norman's board lets him give this entire speech before they're like, oh, by the way, we're selling the company and you're out, and they're almost asking to be murdered, really.
We also have to love that this is Dr. Evil's table and chairs. You almost expect the other guy to be like, I'm sorry, Norman, but we've decided to fire you, and then he hits the button.
One more thing before we get too far away from it that I want to mention real quick, and I promise I will get to the super chats here in a second. We've got a bunch of them. Is the big thing that this has with the point I was making earlier over Smallville in having the do you know how much she sacrificed in having the girl next door thing is I actually believe, and we could maybe spend more time on it. We could maybe make it like a little bit more complex, but I actually believe that this guy likes her for not just superficial, the most superficial of reasons, that she's hot. Like the scene outside of the diner is probably their best scene together, or one of their best scenes together. Because the consistent thing with him, and I buy what he sees in her and what she sees in him, and then I don't so much in the sequels because I think they get really petty. Yeah. But here it's he believes in her when nobody else does, and she likes him for that reason.
Mm-hmm. No, like I said, I still don't really like Kirsten Dunst just in the role. But I like MJ in this movie a lot more than I like her in the sequels. And part of that is exactly what you're describing, where like it's so much more like TV, CW in 2 and 3, and the way that she's just kind of a jerk.
Well, and I see
for not being able to say a word I wanted to say. She's just kind of a jerk.
Yeah, I actually see flashes of comic book Mary Jane in her performance in this. I don't think she is exactly the right fit actress-wise. Like, I'm totally with you. I don't love the casting. But I don't see that character at all after this. Like, she becomes a different character named Mary Jane. From the comics anyway.
Even like I like the red hair in this more than in the sequels, where it's more of like a strawberry blonde.
Mm-hmm.
Also, Green Goblin here is ripped straight out of the Wizard of Oz. He's the Wicked Witch coming in with the smoke trail.
That's true. The most famous movie ever made.
Exactly. And then Raimi got to make an Oz movie. But I really like that the crowd is like cheering for him, where they're like, yeah, here's this cool stunt for this parade that they're doing.
So you got Macy Gray, You got some other things that are, pretty dated with the pretty 2002. The most dated thing in this entire movie is the giant billboard for Singular Wireless.
Well, and the Macy Gray thing is, it makes me think of '89 because I'm like, that's your Prince.
I had the same thing, and you got balloons.
You got balloons, yeah.
Yeah, no, this is very '89, except it's set during the day, and it's in the second act, not the third. This is how you introduced your villain. I mean, like, this is I'm Glad You're Dead. Well, it's not good. No, it's not. It's not, because I'm Glad You're Dead is, if we're going to compare it to the structure of '89, is Green Goblin killing the Quest guy, and then this would be the Joker on the streets with a pen.
Oh, okay, probably like a mix of that and the museum, I would think, because my mind went to the museum first.
But sure. Well, and that's a little more high profile. It's just this is outside, and that's part of why I was thinking that. But yeah.
Well, I was just thinking specifically because, like, the main
he's gonna actually fight
love interest,
and he's gonna fight Spider-Man.
The love interest is in danger, and you got some of that.
Nope, you're right. You're right. It is that.
We needed Green Goblin though to scream, "You're jumping on those balloons!"
Hey, stole my balloon!
The horrifying thing in this movie is that he has a grenade that just instantly turns you into skeletons.
Yeah, I know, it's awesome. And I'm like, why'd you never use that again? Why don't you lead with that every time?
Why do you not lead every time with that grenade and then the weird trident thing you keep up your ass?
Yeah!
It's Doc Ock's assassin blade in Spider-Man 2, except that's oddly worse.
So the 80-yard mother screaming lines are really funny because they're like so in your face and over the top. It's like, we don't have enough of this mom screaming, right? You can't, no! Ah!
There's so many good moments of women screaming.
Well,
there's just like a lot of that I noticed in the background that was going like, what's that guy doing?
So I've always been bothered by the special effects shot where he just does not look like he's in the same location at all. It's rough.
There's a couple of really awkward CGI shots. That's a big one. Another big one is when Peter's jumping on the rooftops. He looks like Woody.
He's jumping on rooftops. Yeah, that's true. This is a really thrilling sequence, though. You know what?
Yeah, it's really well put together.
It's super well storyboarded. No, you're spot on when you say this is like the Flugelheim, because it's the Flugelheim and then the whole Batmobile chase after that because of the sheer amount of Mary Jane screaming you get.
Yeah, one, it's also going to lead with him leaving with MJ like Batman does with Vicky.
Yeah. Except he's not going to say, "You see the thing on my belt." He's going to grab her and swing off with her.
She's falling, and he just yells, "How much do you weigh?"
There's something else you have that I want.
Catch you if you weigh a certain amount.
Chewbacca's Lover, $5 super chat. Let me go ahead and start going through these. Ashamed to say that as a dumb kid, I was invested in and liked the romance. It not holding up really hurt my feelings. I was in denial about it for years. Now, again, I'll say, I don't think the romance works after this. I think the setup is okay in this movie. Again, some of those exchanges are really awkward, and I don't care for some of that writing, but more and more every time I watch this, I'm getting what they're after, and it's not as effective as it could be, but, like, I at least get why these people like each other, and one thing that I think it doesn't get enough credit for, that I've not really talked about before, is that, I don't think, is that remember how early this is in history of superhero movies? It is a pretty big subversion to have them not together at the end. And, like, it's a romance. She is the clear, undisputed love interest. They don't get together. Which you could argue is also in its way a little bit CW, because they're like stringing you along, where it's like, oh, well, like, when are they finally going to get together? But I think they earn it okay by the end.
It also feels super Spider-Man. Like,
yes, that's
Spider-Man wins, but Peter Parker doesn't.
Yep.
So like that is a way in which they're capturing something that is very Spider-Man.
Yeah, and this gets all the Parker Lex stuff right in a way that MCU could not figure out.
Yeah.
Now, one thing I don't get is why Mary Jane. Okay, I can say I get why Mary Jane is dating Harry Osborn in the first place, because that's been her MO in trying to kind of, like, put on a facade outside of her horrible, upbringing at home, right? So she goes for the popular kids. She goes for the rich kids. She's replaced Flash Thompson for Harry Osborn, who's even richer, and even more popular, kind of, because of who his father is, right? So I get why she gets with him in the first place. They don't get along at all. Like, I feel like she should have dumped him much, much sooner. But then again, she should have dumped Flash a lot sooner, and I always think it's hilarious that she does it at
graduation.
At graduation. That's so overly dramatic. The only thing that would be more dramatic than that would be prom. Because that's where everyone breaks up, is prom.
Exactly.
But yeah, like, even if their chemistry is not, like, perfect for me and, like, the best on-screen chemistry for me, I see what Raimi saw in them. Like, I get it.
Yeah. Well, part of it with Harry as well is just, all I really get from James Franco is that he's just kind of doofy. That's kind of all he does.
Yeah, but, like, you gotta blame the parents, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Well, look at, that's his freaking father!
This might be my favorite scene in the movie, just because Dafoe is amazing.
Oh, Dafoe's so great and all this stuff, and this is part of that Raimi, and he does it a lot in 2 as well, like bringing that kind of universal monster energy to his villains, specifically in like the like flip around and stuff.
This
like
is very
flips and he's normal.
Yeah, this is very dark, man.
Yeah, which is part of that too. Like that's also very much his throwback to that kind of material. Like it's very clear that he really loves that stuff.
So the Goblin is going to help bring him power beyond his wildest dreams to fly around the city and do something. I don't know. I don't know what is the master plan here exactly.
But how does this work for me? But then Doctor Doom just being like, "Haha, I've got a surfboard. I'm gonna fly around for a while." Like, how does that, like, so bad in Silver Surfer? But here I'm like, I mean, the answer is it's a better performance. But...
Well, no, it's for me it's twofold. It's a better performance, and there is a human motivation in the first place. It's just not explored enough. Like, or at the very least, I can infer a good human motivation because of all of the other characters I understand better, that I'm clearly supposed to be measuring it by. That it's supposed to be like on a scale of or paralleling to. He's an insecure person who desperately needs a win, who desperately needs to prove to the world how great he is. I guess at science or business or both.
Yeah. I love, by the way, that he catches that cigar in midair and throws it back through the window.
Yeah, it's pretty great.
It's great. I also, and I don't know why I like never picked up on it as a kid, but he's got like some purple in his mask. I think if it was balanced out a little bit more, the suit would be a little better. Like if you maybe added some purple to the chest.
It is just really silly and looks like it belongs in a tokusatsu. And they
the suit's not good in general, but like I think that would maybe balance it better.
Yeah. They tried to build something closer to the classic comic suit, and Raimi just decided it looked too silly, and I'm like, over this?
Yeah, but I also wondered if that maybe would have been like too hard because it was like a full animatronic face. But
they built it.
Yeah, exactly. No, it would have looked a lot better, I think. You could have maybe merged that mask
when you say
with
too hard. They built it. It worked. They just decided not to use it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't know. And you could say, well, he's not able to give enough of a Defoe performance behind it. But all we do with this mask is take the eyes back so you can see his eyes and sort of see his mouth under the Goblin mouth. Like, it's goofy.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Now, one thing you got to give the costumes in this movie is we don't do the thing everybody complains about with 2 and 3, where Spider-Man and even Green Goblin doesn't really do it. Has to like unceremoniously lose his mask in the middle of a scene. Like, he does get half of it blown off toward the end, but he's still wearing it. Like, we don't find an excuse to just pull it off.
No, you get that when he fights the burglar, he just rips it off, and then that weird scene where he saves MJ without his mask, which I've never understood. That's kind of all they do.
That's
in terms
true.
Of that.
I forgot about that.
But I really like the image of like the half blown off mask, and especially for the climax. I really like battle damage superhero suits.
So I want every time Peter walks up behind her for her to think that it's someone that has been screaming at her all day. Like, I wish that was a motif that went through the entire movie. Just get off my ass! Leave me! Oh, hi, Peter! Like, I want it to be every time.
That would be great. It happens like at the hospital even. She's coming to see Aunt May. He walks in behind her. What?
Leave me alone, Enrique! I'm not Enrique. I'm Spider-Man.
Stop following me to the hospital, Enrique. That's probably the most ditzy line she has in this movie. I would love a cheeseburger. Oh, that's right. I'm going for dinner with Harry.
So this is another kind of awkward exchange, but I do like that she's giving him a little rope and trying to give him an opportunity to make a move. I don't love this love triangle. I've seen a lot worse. I've seen better. Again, I don't get why she's even still with him, except just she feels like she's got to be with somebody, and like he's not a horrible person.
She definitely knows that she's breaking up with Harry at some point.
Yeah, of course, yeah. And so she doesn't even seem unsympathetic because in giving him that rope, she's sort of giving her herself a chance to cheat on Harry. Because if he makes that move, all she has to do is go break it off with him before she does anything with Peter.
And this scene, of course, is in every superhero movie up to a certain point. Then we stop doing it. But these goons are gonna go attack this woman.
So
and obviously, it's
real contrived. And there's a lot of that in this movie where it's like, why is that crime happening right now? And it's so
New York. I assume this happens in every alley.
Building is on fire right now because Spider-Man's got to go. I mean, at least that one, I guess, Green Goblin started, but...
Yeah. No, I kind of like that, in that I just imagine that Green Goblin is like, I got nothing better to do, so he just goes around starting fires until Spider-Man shows up.
He's just... I'm something of an arsonist myself.
Eventually he will show up.
Okay, so was the idea that she just came back from the soap opera audition... Or that she did that recently? Did she just come from it?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, I have a theory. Because like, we all know the like practical production reason for this, but I now have an in-story theory that I've never thought about before, which is the reason she's not wearing a bra in this scene is because the soap opera audition told her not to.
I was not prepared for a a read on why she's not wearing a bra in this scene.
I think that's a really good working theory, Austin.
There you go. That's why. That's why she was also prepared for this very soap opera kiss.
That's true. That's what she had to do in that audition, is make out with a guy upside down. And she's like, "Wow, I just did this very thing 10 minutes ago."
Peter's like, "Oh, you taste like you've been doing this for like the last 30 minutes." And that other guy was clearly a smoker.
Chewbacca's Lover, $2 super chat.
Oh, sorry.
I don't know what he is coming back from when he says this, but he just wrote coming from a guy who still thinks the Goblin looks cool. I don't know if he means he feels that way or he's responding to something we said. I have no idea what that super chat was. I
guess just, yeah, he likes the...
Sorry we didn't get that in...
Oh, I think it was part of his, he liked, as a kid, he liked the romance. Then he's saying, you know, coming from a guy who also likes the Goblin suit. I mean, we're all kids. We like things like this because we're kids. You know, where you're like, it's Spider-Man. I love Spider-Man.
I wouldn't have thought anything of that as a kid.
Yeah.
This came out when I was 17, so I already thought it was dumb. But as a kid, I don't think...
Yeah, no, exactly. Wow, what was I going to say? I had a thing with the last scene. Oh, yes. I think this originally was supposed to have a different ending because the game has a very different ending, and that would have been working off of an earlier script where they do get together at the end of this, and she says that she always knew he was Peter Parker. And part of me wonders if that's why he's wearing that not wearing the mask in that scene, is so that we can build up to that as an ending, and then we change the ending, but I could be wrong.
Well, and I always thought it was odd in 2 that we kind of retconned the ending of this with him and Mary Jane, where she clearly has this realization when she kisses him that he might be Spider-Man, and then she's completely forgot about that by the sequel.
Yeah. I think it's in the deleted scene in Spider-Man 2. We find out that Jameson's son actually has memory wiping kisses.
Oh.
So, like...
Stole that from Richard Lester, didn't we?
Exactly. Yeah, just imagining Green Goblin doing this across the city is always a great image.
So there's a piece of information I don't think we're ever going to have that is probably the thing I would ask Dafoe if I ever met him, which is...
If it was him doing the woman
Did you scream like a woman in that scene? Was that you?
Because it sounds like him.
It sounds like him. It might have been him. They put some reverb on it. You know, pretty hard, but it might be him.
No, I've always wondered that too. That would be one of the first things I would ask him in a conversation. This scene, of course, is the greatest moment in the commentary when Kirsten Dunst makes fun of the dialogue. I don't know if you remember that.
I don't remember that
part where when he's like, "It's you, so got me out of your mind," she just starts laughing. It's like, "That line sucks."
It's not good.
No, it's rough. This movie has some of the Spider-Man quippy moments. That's clearly supposed to be one. It just doesn't work.
No.
It's just awkward. And Tobey's not always great at doing the quippy stuff.
Well, the problem is he's too... This Peter Parker does not seem like a witty guy, and like even if he was more self-assured, I don't know if he would be. He's just kind of an awkward kid. And so you can have that thing where you put the suit on and it gives you confidence and you feel like a different person within it, and so you bring out maybe some character traits that you've always wanted to exhibit that you don't know how to show otherwise, or unless you try stuff out because you're like behind a curtain. We don't do enough of it. And so it feels like I've talked about this before, but it feels like lip service before it feels like it's coming from a character plays. Where like it's Spider-Man, he's supposed to do that, as opposed to am I buying that this guy is doing that?
Yeah, no, definitely. But like I think the one he has in Jameson's office, the mom and dad are talking. I think that one works.
That one works. Did your husband give it to you works. That's kind of the first one. And like they really win me over with that. And then it's like just
and I've said this before, but 2 has maybe the best on-screen live-action Spider-Man quip, which is the "Here's your change."
Yeah. Bob the Hun, $5 super chat.
There is a bit of it in this movie.
Say again.
I just said so. There is a bit of it in this movie. Like it's not like it's not there at all.
Yeah, I just don't know if I buy it coming from him. Part of the problem is, in some ways, the performance is too serious. I don't know if serious is the right word, but like he's just so broody.
Well, I think too, just the way the mask looks makes him look more serious. Like it's got like the really sharp eyes too.
Yeah, but I like that. That's a tad more McFarlane. I like that.
That's fair. I mean, I prefer like the wider ones, but I get you.
And I'll always stand up for the raised webbing. I think that looks cool.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of it, but fair enough. And the quipping thing is an issue across like really every Spider-Man. Like all 3 of them have that.
Anyway, let me get into some more of these super chats. Bob the Hun, $5 super chat. In the 60s comics, Norman is a good guy who goes crazy because of the serum. Goblin being a split personality, Norman being evil is a retcon in the 2000s. That is true.
When technically he's evil from the start with Ditko, but you also don't know Norman at that point.
Oh, okay.
So that is true.
I don't remember. But he's not like straight up evil in this.
Mm-hmm. No, this is.
I guess I'm not sure what point he's making. Like, is he just saying that like this is going back to the '60s thing, and like people might look back?
I guess so. Yeah.
At this now and think like I'm not sure what he's responding to when he says that, but.
Mm-hmm. And then Doc Ock, of course, will also kind of be doing this again. Just more sympathetic.
That's true. He's just a little more sympathetic.
Yeah, then that will kind of be the formula, if you will.
It kind of helps that it's an AI that he builds that's telling him to do things, as opposed to probably an already screwed up fractured psyche.
Mm. Yeah, exactly.
Like Norman's got a little bit of he's got a little bit of a Two-Face thing going on.
Yeah. No, you get moments like this where like I don't think this is fully the Goblin. Like I feel like this is just Norman.
I can't tell. I don't think the scene knows for sure which it is. So I don't know if I've ever brought this up before. I noticed this today, and I was like, "Oh, have I ever caught this? I can't remember." In the in the scene when the Goblin first shows up and fights Spider-Man at the festival, and she's wearing that odd Asian dress. I'll never understand why they put her in that. It's a cool dress. It's kind of iconic now. I'll never understand that choice. But and it's like Mary Jane decided to put that on, like just despite Harry, because she didn't want to wear what Harry wanted her to wear. And anyway, he says in that scene, because he's being like very superficial and just treating her like a trophy, and it's all about like trying to live up to his father and impress his father, right? And he says, "Why didn't you wear the black dress? My father loves black." And then in the Thanksgiving scene, she's wearing the black dress. That's a good detail.
No, that is a good detail. No, and that's one of the creepiest moments in the movie where he's like, "Oh, you should have worn black. My father loves women in black." It's weird, creepy. Yeah, it's real odd. This is one of my favorite weird things in this movie, that Green Goblin makes her finish her prayer.
Yeah. Well, it's like it's trying to drive home for the audience that the Goblin personality is straight up pure evil, almost to say, don't think too hard about the villain plot. He's just the bad guy.
I'm also, and this is one of those things you wouldn't notice because we're just on camera talking. But when I'm out with people and they're like, let's say like they're drinking something and like they're almost done, I will yell "finish it" at them.
Finish it!
I yell "finish it" at people a lot.
Well, I will admit to finding lots of excuses to say those horrible yellow eyes. That's what I do. Those horrible yellow eyes! This movie is very quotable.
It's a very quotable movie, but I'm just thinking of like situations where that would make sense. Like the first thing that came to my mind was you're like out with one of the kids, and like one of the kids is like, "Look, Dad, a homeless person." That was so horrible. You know?
No, I say it watching movies a lot.
Oh, okay.
There'll just be random places where it's like, why does that person have like crazy yellow eyes? Those horrible yellow eyes. The Fallout Man 77 puts in a $20 super chat. Thanks so much, man. Really appreciate it. He says, salute, Logan and Austin. Seeing Spider-Man in the summer of 2002, age 7, I'm such an old person, was what brought my superhero fanaticism. I'm getting tired. I almost wrote fascism. I almost said fascism. What brought my superhero fanaticism to critical mass and primed my mind for seismic possibilities. Your critiques are still very apt, though. Oh no, I appreciate it. I mean, I like this movie. There's a good number of like easy nitpicks and things that I think overall were kind of mistakes. And I should say, I like it more now than I did when I started Rewind. I think like I've come back around on it.
No, I mean this is not a perfect movie. That's why I compare it a lot to '89. Like they both have that, like they're very flawed. They're both really good movies. I do prefer this to '89, but like yeah, it's got issues. Absolutely.
Well, just on a script writing level,
came out.
Like just a storytelling level, yeah, this is the better movie. I like '89 more, but that's just a personal sensibility. I know what the hell is happening here for the most part. Like Green Goblin's plot starts to get to an '89 place, like you said, absolutely. But the hero side, I get everything happening there. There's not any place in this movie where Peter Parker makes a decision where I'm like, is he just being weird? Like, why is he doing that?
Yeah, well, I even like that with Green Goblin because just he becomes a complete insane person.
Yeah, it is fun.
He just kind of goes around being like, "Hey, you're gonna work with me."
Well, and he's almost more effective in seeming like a psychopath than Jack Nicholson's Joker is, arguably.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, because like with Jack Nicholson's Joker, I only see Jack Nicholson. While here, I don't just see Defoe. Like I do see like an actual insane person.
Now, to be fair, at least for my part, I had never seen Defoe in anything before this, so like this is my introduction to that character.
Yeah, or that guy.
Or sorry, to that actor. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. This might have been my introduction to Green Goblin because I was not a big Spider-Man guy. Apart from. At this point, I had gotten a lot more into Spider-Man, but it was mostly, like, mid-90s symbiote stuff. Like, we honestly didn't do a ton of Green Goblin during that period. It was so much about Venom and Carnage and all that stuff.
Yeah. No, like I said, I was 5 when this came out. Like, I remember I had, like, a birthday cake, I think, around when I was, like, 6, that had, like, little figures of the Spider-Man and Green Goblin on it. So, like, it was a pretty big part of my childhood.
So, Aunt May fixes the scene. Because his speech here just goes on and on and on, and it's so awkward. Yeah. And, like, again, like, I'm conflicted because, like, I get it. They're awkward teenagers, and he doesn't really know how to express himself, and he's very nervous, and he's you know, an introvert and yada yada yada, And then on the other end, I'm just like, somebody wrote that dialogue, like on a piece of paper, and put it in a film. And then you cut over to May, and she's amused by it, and she gets that, he's just a dumb kid trying to make a move with this girl, and I'm like, she makes the whole scene work. Like, you have to have
that. May's like waiting to die in that scene. She's like, oh my god, I'm so done with the speech. Kill me.
If you don't have her close up, that scene is awful.
She's like, I'm almost dead. Finish it.
Deliver us from evil.
Deliver us from this speech.
From this speech.
No, it's very charming when we cut to Aunt May and she's smiling and pretending to still be asleep.
Yeah, I mean, she's...
Rosemary Harris is just very perfect.
It goes without saying, she's in some ways the best casting choice in the entire movie.
She's real life Aunt May. Like, she's still alive and like 1,000 years old.
I know, it's amazing. You could give that to J.K. Simmons, but
J.K. Simmons is definitely up there.
Maybe Tyon.
Yeah. And it makes me so sad. Like, we brought J.K. Simmons back, and also had a different take, because I always want to just like do your own thing with Jameson. And we got the worst of both worlds, in which we just made him Alex Jones and brought J.K. Simmons back. So it's like, oh, I get to see him play a worse version of this character now. That's cool.
At least it's a cameo, and he's not really doing anything.
That's true. He's got like a little bit more to do in the third one, but that's fair.
Yeah, I don't even remember what he does in that movie. It's been so long.
Yeah, he pops up a little bit. He's more supporting, I would say. Yeah.
I haven't seen that in 5 years. I can't believe it's been 5 years.
Yeah, and I'd be shocked if he's not in the new one, but I don't think we know if he is.
I bet he will be.
Mm-hmm.
You're Not Superman, was in the trailer. That's a smart trailer line.
Yeah.
Given that obviously the superhero genre was still not gigantic yet, and one of the reasons this movie wasn't greenlit for so long, this has probably one of the records for longest time in development hell. We're talking about from 1975 up to until this movie came out. And a lot of it was because of periods of time that various companies that got their mitts on this would try to put a movie into production, and then a superhero movie would fail spectacularly, and then all of Hollywood goes, we're not making those anymore. So we almost got one, and it's a good thing it didn't happen, because I think it would have been like a canon film, but like we almost got one right after, or right around Superman 3, and then when that bombed, they were like, we can't make this now. And then the same thing happened, and obviously there were various reasons that it didn't happen, going all the way up, like with, early mid-90s when that almost happened. But then, like, 1997, it was getting a lot closer to happening. And then Batman and Robin happens, and then they don't make it.
Yeah. I will say, I do feel like it happened at the right time, because
I do too.
I don't know how you visualize Spider-Man's powers just swinging around the city before then. Like, I think CGI kind of had to get to a certain place before we could really do that.
No, we're very lucky that we didn't get the massively compromised, like Spider-Man in initial concept only kind of movie, because it was almost made that way a couple of times. Where it, like in the 70s and early 80s. There was a lot of talk about turning it into just a horror movie, and Stan Lee got really angry about that. Like that's what they almost did with it. Did you know that at one point Albert Pune almost made one?
No.
Like, that's lucky we didn't end up with that. That's the guy that made the 1990 Captain America movie.
Yeah, it would have been no good.
I watched this with my twin girls today. They're 4, and they were both actually kind of scared of Green Goblin in places. It was interesting. We got to the end of the movie, and they were like, "Oh, Dad, that was kind of scary." But what's funny is, Selena especially was really making fun of the Green Goblin costume.
No, I was scared of Green Goblin as a kid, but it like really gives a lot of stakes when you're a child because
Yeah.
you're like, this man's incredibly scary. Like I don't know how Spider-Man can beat this guy. He's horrifying. And like I remember as a kid, I'd have to like look away when it does the like jump scare at the screen for no reason.
Yeah, yeah. Well, in the scene, right at the end where he fights Spider-Man in the crypt, was legitimately surprising in the theater that it goes as dark as it does right in that moment. And my girls were a
I
little
stand
scared
by
of
it's
that
one of the
scene.
best climaxes in a superhero movie.
It's
so visceral.
I think it's excellent. Yeah. And like it really
It's
earns
so
that. I like how it ramps
yeah.
up to that. It, like, you know, I like movies that can. I feel like we've kind of lost this some. I like movies that don't feel like they have to be all one thing, and where you can be like overall a pretty wholesome movie, and then go. There's also like dark, awful parts to life, and you show those too, and there's contrast. And you need that in family films. You need that contrast.
It's like I always say, you should be okay with scaring children. It's fine. They can
Yeah.
handle it.
It just
Uh,
you're a sadist if the whole point is that.
yeah. But like even all this stuff I think is genuinely really effective where he's just trying to save these people and there's really nothing he can do. Like he's
Yeah.
fully at the goblin's mercy, really.
Well, and I like that the Goblin calls himself a lunatic. Then some lunatic comes along to give you a sadistic choice, and I'm like, did you just call yourself a lunatic? That's fantastic.
Even he knows. He's like, look, I don't understand what I've been doing the last half an hour, but
Well,
I'm doing it anyways.
think about it. It's not Norman, it's the Goblin personality. So the Goblin personality is the most self-aware character in the movie. Because he knows he's evil and a lunatic.
He's evolving.
And
Soon he'll be able to open doors.
He just earns it, or he just owns it. He's fine with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know what? Maybe the more we're talking about it, the more I'm kind of okay with the Goblin having no idea what the hell he's doing.
No, I kind of like it as I've gotten older.
I just sort of want Norman himself to have more of a sense of purpose. Like, I want to buy more that the Goblin kind of sort of seduces him, and that's the part of it that doesn't quite pan out. Where he's like, first sure. we go after his heart, Osborn, and I'm like, why is Osborn wanting any part of this plan? Mm-hmm. What does he think the plan even is? That's the problem with it, is that if Osborn realizes that the Goblin has no idea what the hell he's doing, why is he going along with it?
Mm-hmm. It's in him.
Yeah, I mean, maybe the idea is he just doesn't think he has any choice. He has no sense of agency. Because the other thing to keep in mind, too, and I wish the movie would explore this a little bit, and I've never heard anybody talk about this, Austin. It's a split personality, like, dictionary definition. Not just, like, there's a good version and an evil version, or there's Norman and his dark side. It's like it's almost like the enemy within in TOS, where when Kirk gets split off with the transporter accident and there's a good Kirk and an evil Kirk, the good Kirk can't make command decisions anymore because of the confidence that he derives from his evil half. The idea being that everyone has obviously good and evil in them, and we actually need our dark side. It's important. And so the way this played for me on this viewing, Austin, is the Goblin side actually takes something from Norman that he needs. And the Norman that you're seeing when he's not the Goblin, he's not the Norman you saw at the beginning of the movie. It's
so much more timid.
It's this timid version of him that's completely lost all of his agency. He's a different character.
Mm-hmm. No, that's a good call.
That's what you've chosen.
Part of what's so good about this whole sequence, and this is going to sound very weird, but Toby's really good at grunt acting.
That's true. I agree with that.
It's one of the best things he brings to this role. Is he's really good at that specifically, and Defoe is too. But like, it really adds to how visceral this is.
I like how we have to have the Goblin do a backflip at the 11th hour here to remind us that he's had these performance enhancers. Like, he doesn't do a ton of physical stuff with it.
Also, when he rips the web, it just sounds like tinfoil, and that always confused me as a child.
Yeah, it did me too. I was like, why is it made of aluminum foil?
When it's that, and then later on when he's beating Green Goblin up, he punches him in the face, and it does like a like dink noise, and then after that it's like the traditional like poof, poof, and I'm like, why was it metal the first hit, but not the second and third?
Okay, tell me if I'm wrong about this, because it may just be the close-up and how we're shot, and I'm not understanding the position that Peter is in, but the Goblin steps on his hand so he can't spin a web.
Yeah,
he's got another hand.
Well, it's dramatic though. If he used his other hand, then...
what's stopping him from? I have that with another scene in this movie that I didn't bring up when we were talking over it. But go back to the cafeteria scene. There is no back off shot where we see Peter. I maybe mentioned this before. I can't remember. Where we see Peter set Mary Jane down when he's holding her. So there's this like really awkward bit where he catches her after he catches her and all the stuff on the tray, right? And he's holding her, and then we cut to her close up, and at some point in that scene, she's suddenly standing.
Yeah, definitely. This is the part where it's like it's metallic the first time he hits him in the face, and then not after.
Oh, you're right.
As a kid, I was like, I thought, what was happening?
Well, see, he took the metal out of it. He punched it out already. There's no more
did
metal.
Notice this time the ear's broken off. I've never noticed that before.
Dude, I never caught that. That's great.
Because it's like very prominently like this is metallic.
But yeah, one thing that was kind of frustrating to me on this viewing that I don't know if I'd thought about before, alluding to something I said earlier, is why there's no question at all about, like, even if you don't want to do a big detective story with this, why is nobody even wondering who the Goblin is? Like, it never comes up. We talk more about, gee, I wonder who Spider-Man is. It never comes up with a Goblin. It's just there's this crazy guy flying around with this glider, and nobody ever goes, who is that? Like, can we find out? And then he's going after all of Peter's friends and family. Peter never one time stops to go, gee, maybe I should go try to figure out who that guy is.
Yeah, that's the big thing I feel like we're missing, is I wish we got some sort of Peter trying to figure that out.
At least have a conversation about it, because it's just weird you would wonder about that. Mm-hmm. And again, I don't think it would be that hard to figure it out, because there are people that are aware of that glider. Now, I don't know how internal it is at that company, but there's enough people that work at that company that would have to know about that, apart from the board, that you'd think they'd see it on TV and maybe call the police and be like, there's only one person that could be.
I guess just because it was stolen, like they're like, I don't know, somebody stole it.
Yeah, but they know that you've got to have the enhancers to even fly it.
But they also don't know that Norman.
They don't know that he took it.
So like so they think maybe somebody could have broken in and done it,
and also taken that. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's possible. I'm just saying, there's a pretty clear potential culprit there.
Yeah, no, I mean, you're not wrong.
Harry wears a lot of black in the last act here. Because
it symbolizes that he's going to be the bad guy of Spider-Man 3.
It symbolizes that there's going to be this gigantic misunderstanding for 2 movies.
Also, is there a drawer in every room that just contains a gun?
Dude, it looked like
just like a random drawer.
I gotta go back and look again, because watching it today, I thought it was just sitting on that table. Like, I didn't think it was in a drawer. I think he just picked it up off a table. I have a gun here. Was it in a drawer?
Yeah, because you hear like a zzz, and then he pulls out a gun.
I missed that. I thought it was just sitting on that counter. When we're done here, I'm gonna go back and look.
Yeah, no, definitely. I might be wrong, but I was. It sounds like he opens a drawer.
You really just. You wouldn't have even had a third movie at all if Bernard had just walked in right then and said, "The blade."
Look at this, Mr. Harry was stabbed by his gilder.
That pierced his body. Came from his gilder.
Came from his trailer.
I'll take every opportunity.
It's the greatest blooper of all time.
The stuff with Peter and Mary Jane in this scene is actually decently well written. Although I do think it is a little bit weird at a funeral to come up to someone and say, I'm in love with you, and I hope we can make a relationship work. Like at the funeral.
You're bringing something positive out of. I mean, she also broke up with her boyfriend at a graduation. See, that doesn't surprise me that you would then try to pick up somebody at a funeral.
Yeah, there's a bit of a pattern happening here.
Yeah. No, Killer Moth Lives just made me laugh where Sid Harry's wearing the black lounge shirt. It's his father's favorite. And there's another scene where he's wearing this
Japanese emperor cloak, and I don't know why he has that.
Stop wearing that. Wear black. Real men wear black, Harry.
Remember that. Broomafaz. Lucas Green.
Broom your other outfits fast and get a good manly outfit like mine.
I've got more super chats. Lucas Green, 10-pound super chat. Thanks again for the support. Well, Cap, the thing against Quest and the board is Norman's hatred. The Spidey thing is what Goblin wants, so he drops Norman's motives and does what he wants. I guess I can just never tell when it's supposed to be influenced very much by Norman's personality. I mean, the problem is, when he has that speech in the mirror, he's like, let's go after all of Harry's enemies because you've not been as good of a father as you wish you were. So he's still in that way thinking about Norman's interest. Mm-hmm. Right?
Yeah. I mean, it's I would say that subconscious, here are the people that wronged me in some way.
But the idea that he's lost interest in Quest as soon as Spider-Man shows up because oh look, conveniently it's someone with powers like me. This character is so
be a father to him.
He's so out of his mind that I can kind of maybe buy that, I guess.
Yeah.
No, that's fair. Well, it's almost like he has this switch in his head where he goes, "I'm in a superhero movie now. I'm gonna be the villain. I'm gonna call myself evil and a lunatic."
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. It's impressive.
No, it's because he's upgraded his armor.
Well, no. Harry certainly did not upgrade his armor when he puts on the Goblin suit.
That was a downgrade. He wasn't even wearing armor.
But his Goblin suit is mostly black.
That's true.
Yep.
That's true. Although
I wish his father likes it.
I wish it looked more like that Asian dress that she was wearing, though. I wish that was his outfit.
He's just wearing that dress.
Yeah. He's wearing that pattern, you know.
His glider is like a Chinese dragon, it's like a mix of cultures.
But I just had to kind of talk that out a little bit. I think Lucas Green probably is on to something there, where it's the Goblin is just a lot more interested in being in a superhero thing now. I guess I don't know. This is winning me over more on the pointless insanity of this character.
This is also the best final swing of any Spider-Man movie.
And it's the first one, isn't it crazy?
I know. That's kind of sad, because it's we never got better than this one, but it looks great.
Well, and it's really ambitious and really impressive that they pulled this off in 2002. I mean, I think we kind of take for granted just how impossible all of this was just a couple of years before it. Like the technological leap between 1999 and 2002 is like a decade and a half.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I'm overstating it to say that.
It's super cool.
Yeah. But like you think about the fact that The Matrix had come out just a couple of years before this, and how different action movies and like things of this ilk looked in 97, 98 versus up to now. I mean, it's staggering.
I was just looking through the cast list, and the women that scream at him at the wrestling match are labeled as the Bonettes.
That's awesome.
I love that.
I've still never seen anybody cosplay as him at a convention, and I'm disappointed. I need to see that.
That's sad. I love Bonesaw. He's always ready.
Okay, great. $2 super chat. I had this very thought today in the car. He says Ted Raimi was the original Sean Gunn.
Yeah, I've thought about that too.
And then he yells Hoffman. That's kind of true.
That's why Raimi needs to do something at DC.
And he
do Batman and then cast Bruce Campbell as Harvey Bullock. God damn it.
And he puts Ted Raimi in his stuff going all the way back.
Yeah, it kind of makes me sad he's not put him in his last couple movies. Like, he's not in his new one. He's not in Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
Like,
I haven't seen it in a long time. I don't know what Ted Raimi at this stage in his life even looks like right now.
Yeah, he's in the Evil Dead show. Like, he still looks really good.
Oh, okay. Cool.
But I don't know. Maybe he's just not acting. I don't know. Maybe he's just busy.
And I always thought it was cool that Lucy Lawless got a little cameo in this.
Yeah.
It's a weird cameo. It's like, seeing her with a bunch of face piercings is very strange. And I don't think anybody in the theater caught it was her, which is really amusing and interesting because we're talking, like, maybe a year before or after Xena goes off the air. Like, her show is maybe even still on or just finished.
Okay. We now have footage of both Lucy Lawless and Drew Barrymore saying that Spider-Man's hot.
When does Drew Barrymore say it?
I don't know. There's like I don't know if it was like an official thing, but there's a YouTube video that's a music video for the Ramones cover of the Spider-Man theme. And there's a part when it cuts to Drew Barrymore, and she's like, "Oh my God, Spider-Man is clearly the hottest of the superheroes."
Yeah, Xena ended in 01. So this is 1 year after her show goes off the air. And that show was I mean, it fell off in popularity toward the end, but like that was a huge show. So for her to get that little cameo and she's got a bunch of facial piercings, like it's really funny. Dan Schneider, $2 super chat. Tim Story FF will rip the scene off with no shame, but I'm not sure which scene we were talking about.
I think it's the Norman Osborn office scene.
Oh, sure.
I don't think I've ever stuck around long enough to hear this song.
No, and I don't think they put this on the soundtrack. Maybe they did. I haven't gone back to the soundtrack like I have Daredevil, but I've listened to it a few times. Lucas Green, £10 super chat. So at the parade, Harry sees Goblin throwing bombs. When he discovers his dad was the Goblin in 2, he never thinks Pete had good intentions for killing. If he did kill him, talking to Pete isn't an option. Yeah, I think I get what he's saying. Now I had this question, Austin. Does Harry know before the obvious revelation at the end of 3 that his father was even the Goblin?
He must do by the end of 2 when he goes into the Goblin room. Like, I'm gonna guess that's probably when, but like he's also so far gone by that point that
Yeah.
like I kind of buy it. But I don't think that he would know before then. I have that issue with No Way Home where so Doc Ock is like, "Oh, Norman was the Green Goblin," and I'm like, I don't think that was public knowledge. Like, I don't think anyone knew that.
Yeah. That's what I was asking because with the super chat, I was trying to decide if he was just talking about, uh, like at the end when he sees the, uh, all the equipment and everything that he would then, uh, put together that maybe that's the point he's making that then he would put together. Well, like maybe. Peter didn't just flat out murder his father because his father himself was clearly a
Was a
murderer.
crazy person, but Harry's like kind of crazy by that point too.
Yeah,
I
but
think it's just,
is he far gone enough? Because even in 3, I'm not really buying that drama.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to say, but I mean, he is to a point where he was willing to like hire somebody to kill Spider-Man for him.
Well, and there's also the fact that he then already has the split personality thing. Like that's how the end of that movie ends.
Mm-hmm.
I just wish he played it crazier. Because then maybe
he just kind of doofy.
maybe I'd buy it a little more. Because as is, it just seems like the whole thing is a misunderstanding. Okay, let me read through these super chats. There's still quite a few. Thank you guys a lot for hanging out with us and all the participation tonight. Especially considering I've talked about this movie so much that I can't believe that there are still folks that want to hear us talk about this again. Chewbacca's Lover, $2 super chat. No, the problem was it hurt Willem's face. Oh, the animatronic mask?
Other mask. I was wondering if there was maybe another reason for it.
Yeah, I couldn't remember.
Hmm.
Dan Schneider, $5 super chat. Thoughts on the theory that this movie originally had a lot more of the Spidey quips, but they removed them because Toby couldn't deliver them? I've never heard that.
No, I've never heard that either.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I buy that or not. You got to wonder
what. I mean, they still have some.
They were, yeah, because like he doesn't deliver them poorly, and the ones that I would say he does are just bad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, then they have him do it a lot in the games. And they're way more awkward there.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Well,
oh, yeah.
Part of the problem is you've got a Peter Parker that just doesn't really smile much.
Mm-hmm. Now you get my favorite quip from Toby in the first movie game where he meets Green Goblin at the parade, and he's like, "What are you, the Emerald Elf?"
Ooh, that's rough.
Like, oh.
How do we do a pop culture reference without having a pop culture reference? I don't even understand that. What are you saying?
No, that was not impressive.
People like to give him, like to give the Spider-Man a lot of crap for crying constantly. Personally, I don't think that's a problem until later. Although I wish overall he was less broody even here. But like, you do get some like full. Like, drippy crying in this, but it's all over Uncle Ben, and I think that's allowed. That's understandable.
I feel like that's weird to specifically label it this one because I feel like they all do. Like they all cry a lot. Toby specifically does the sexy cry where it's like the one drip down the one eye a lot, and you can make fun of that. But no, I agree. Like this is right after.
Oh, MCU does it way less than the other two, but that's because he doesn't have much to cry about. Nothing bad ever happens to him.
MCU probably does do it the least, but he still cries in every movie.
Every movie?
His own movies. It's not like he's crying in like Infinity.
No, I know, but
in...
that's not what I meant. But every Spider-Man does he really? Mm-hmm. Okay. I don't remember that. I don't remember doing it too.
Might cry at least twice in each. Yeah, because he cries when, like right after he gets hit by the train and he's like at his lowest point.
Well, look, that's.
I think he's on the plane.
That freaking hurts. Okay.
No, that absolutely hurts.
Dan Schneider, $2 super chat.
I would know.
Yeah, like I think the real arch enemy for Spider-Man is trains. Just trains. He's got, especially on film, like, he's got a lot of problems with trains. Mm-hmm. And buses, but especially trains. Dan Schneider, $2 super chat. We still get a few because you can't know Spidey quip. Well, yeah, exactly. I mean, that's what I was saying, is that it's obligatory. Like they know people will think it's weird if it never happens. So even if you've got a performance and a take where you're not sure where it's coming from, you're still gonna have that.
Yeah. No, like I said, I think all three Spider-Mans like never fully found that exact quippy voice. But some of his quips here I think are really good.
If you make it an identity thing, and like I was saying earlier, where you have a version that seems very insecure and can't even put 5 words together usually, and then puts the costume on and is able to embody a whole other personality, and the comics do this in places depending on the run. It could be obnoxious on film. I'm not saying this is necessarily the way to do it, but I feel like a way to make it believable or make me buy it right away is if he's doing a lot. Like, as soon as he puts that mask on, he doesn't stop talking. And I mean, Spider-Man's a real talky character. I think part of the reason that people talk so much about the awkwardness of the quips in this franchise, but like you said, maybe all of them, is he'll get a one-liner here and there. Like, every superhero has one-liners. And so we'll make them more sarcastic because it's Spider-Man, but he's got, like, the same quota. Maybe, the more I'm thinking about it, I think the issue is he's just not talking enough in general when he's wearing the mask. You don't want it to be Deadpool, but Spider-Man is closer, hear me out, in how much he talks to Deadpool than he is to Batman. And you have to find that balance. He's got to talk more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think that's where the Holland version has it, is that he doesn't quip as much as he just is always talking. So like he has that aspect, but
that's
it's not always
Spider-Man.
jokey. Yeah.
Lucas, it's always read to me like we forget to give him any dialogue because he's wearing a full face mask. Mm-hmm. I've always thought it was that simple.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean that's possible. And we weren't at a time yet where we could do moving lenses.
Yeah, which is great when we finally get it. Something else I meant to mention earlier, while I was watching this afternoon, I kept comparing it in my mind to the first X-Men movie because we just did that last week, and I thought I was going to do a lot of comparison to that while we were watching it, and then we just had so many different aspects we wanted to talk about, I didn't end up going to that. But one place, besides the thing I mentioned about just how this is more of a comic book approach, and you've got a director that's more interested in that's got more reverence for the material. But one thing that is real different between them is this feels more paced like a comic.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
That was the thing I had watching it this afternoon that I hadn't before. Like the kind of somewhat frenetic pacing of it, and I don't mean it moves it too fast of a clip. There are places where I wish it would slow down a little bit, just because there are ideas I want it to explore. But it doesn't feel like rushed or like it's missing whole scenes or major beats. I just want to. See, it's not even I need to live in the moment more. Like, I think this movie actually is paced pretty well. It's more just there are ideas and characters I want to explore, and I want it to find an excuse to do that. That's It's more about the content really than the way it's presented. But I had that thought watching it today, where I was like, Singer's X-Men is struggling so hard to tell a story while introducing characters that its pacing is a little wonky, and it's not really looking at comics as hard as this is. And I feel like Raimi is actually going to the medium in even the way he's presenting it. to some degree.
Mm-hmm. But it's kind of got like a year one thing, just in how much time we cover, too. Where like I think that also helps with the convenience of both Peter and Norman happening around the same time. Is that the movie does take place over like 8 months.
That's true, but that does watch like extremely easy, like extremely convenient.
No, it definitely is, but like I do think that helps it a little bit, and that like there is a broad amount of time that is happening.
So I'll argue against that. That never. The fact that it takes place over so much time never helped with that, because for me, because they seem to both get their powers within like a couple of days of each other, and we haven't had any time skip yet. So like you don't know that it's gonna do that until well after they've both been established. All you had to do was open the movie with the Green Goblin stuff and say it happened weeks earlier. And I mean, the timing is a little bit convenient, but it at least doesn't look like it happened in the same week. And in a world where you don't know if any other superhero or supernatural stuff has ever happened before.
Yeah. I don't know. Like I said, it's definitely convenient, but I do think that does help it a little bit. And especially like they're moving at different paces as well, because they're going like even if they start like very close to each other, like it's not like now they're both Spider-Man and Green Goblin in the same week, even if it's closer to them getting their powers really close to each other.
Lucas Green, £5 super chat. Lots of super chats to catch up on. Well, I'm doing that right now. Also, you mentioned a pin on MJ and Peter's portrayals. Your in-depth analysis, the long version. Oh God, I can't remember what I was gonna say. I can't remember what I was talking about.
Well, I think that was just over, like, do we like MJ and do we like Peter? And I feel like we've just kind of been casually talking about that throughout the movie.
I think I got to most of it.
Yeah, which is just, yeah, I like them fine.
Oh, I know what it was, and yeah, I think I probably tackled this enough, but it was that he or someone at the beginning in a super chat asked just overall what we thought of that relationship. And remember, I said I want to put a pin in it because I think it works better here than the rest of it. And like, yeah, I think I covered that well enough. But the long and the short of it,
we talked about it.
We talked about that quite a bit. But the long and the short of it is, I understand what they see in each other and why they care about each other. And I don't think in this, in a way, I don't as much after this, and I don't feel like they're petty like they are later, especially her, and I don't feel like in those movies they're I'm just trying to remember where I was going with this whole thing.
Well, I think it's just like you can tell that 2 is written by the Smallville guys, and then 3 is written by Raimi and his brother, but they're also really looking at the success of 2.
Yeah.
So they're also trying to recapture elements of 2. So they're also like moving that forward, and like that's really where it derails, I think, with them.
I mean, like I said, it's not perfect here, but I don't like horribly dislike them, and it doesn't help that we never really get back to Mary Jane's like horrible family life and stuff, where the angst she has came from a place here in a way it doesn't feel like it does later.
Yeah, no, her father's given like a passing reference into, and that's just the like, even my father saw my play, Peter, and you haven't.
Oh, that's what I was gonna say. Is the other 2 movies? It feels like too much is just built on like really easy misunderstandings and her not being very I don't know. It's late. I can't think of words right now. She's just really unreasonable. In my mind, I don't know. Sorry, I'm stalling out because I'm so tired of talking about this. Like, I've done this dance 100,000 times, and those aren't the movies that we covered tonight. And so I'm like, I gotta.
I feel like we covered their relationship pretty thoroughly.
But I was just gonna say real quick to cap this off that like, the, she's unreasonable and that's irritating, but then he's also too cartoonishly bad at lying and making excuses, and he could do better at that. And like, not that I you know I like deception is a virtue or anything, but like it's not just about being deceptive. Like, you could tell as much of the truth as you can get away with, and he doesn't even try to do that. Like,
yeah. Ren Davis says she was saying Raimi's a better director than writer. I think he is a good writer. He's just not good at writing soap opera romance. It's just not his strength.
Yeah, but I also wish they'd just gotten completely away from that.
Yeah, no, for sure. A big issue with 3 is they're like really trying hard to recapture why people like 2. And they're thinking about it a little too much.
Well, and they seem to think, yeah, and they're also falling into the trap of that, way Rises did, I guess, but it's different, but where you feel like for a trilogy, you've got to really bookend and come back to your first movie, and that third movie thinks that I'm really enamored with that love triangle when that's one of the least interesting things in that first movie. And like we have to get back to that. It's like, why? Write a story around Peter and Mary Jane being a solid team and a power couple, and immediately you have a better movie. Immediately. And let the drama come from he gets the black costume and he's acting out of character and she doesn't know what to do with that. Like, make it about that.
Yeah.
And like, yes, on a surface, somebody's going to say, well, they do that. Yeah, on an irritating surface level, like a crappy teen drama or something, like TV drama or something. But only after they're doing, Harry Osborn love triangle stuff. And where the drama is coming from, like, her jealousy of his being, like, too popular as Spider-Man now and her career not going where she wants it to, and her, like, blaming him. I think part of the reason I get irritated about this, Austin, is I've known people like this, and they should not exist in real life, but they do. And somehow I'm supposed to still find her sympathetic. Like it's awful. But the idea that she is angry with him for flaunting his success when he has no idea that she has failed. Stop it.
Yeah, I don't know.
All she has to do is telling what happens and what happened, and then he won't be doing that. I'm sorry, what?
I said I don't know, but I do like them finding this one. They're okay.
Well, again, there's more of the kind of comic book Mary Jane spark. Like, she's not exactly the same character. She doesn't have the spunk that she does in the comics. I'm missing that. But she's she's much more of a free spirit in the comics. But you can see her potentially going in that direction if only she could get away from her parents. And then she does, and then that doesn't happen. Because just like with Peter, she's held back and she's not really allowed to mature.
Yeah.
The difference is,
exactly.
She, like, immatures. That's not a word, but, or not in that context, but, like, Peter just goes stagnant. She regresses. She de-evolves.
Yeah.
Chewbacca's Lover, $5 super chat is a, wait a minute. I think I read this already. No, he just has a different as a dumb kid super chat. Okay. He says, I thought Spider-Man might die because the movie was PG-13, and for grown-ups, I was really worried when Goblin said you spun your last web. Yeah, I mean, like, that's a kid thing that movies are aware of, and so it works on children, and I think that's a good thing. I think you want to be innocent at that age enough where you were like there's a naivety that you want to have as a kid. It's not you're a dumb kid. It's you've not experienced the formula, and you're also not thinking about the commercial nature of it. You're not aware that.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, of course these characters can't die because then they can't make millions of dollars off of them. Like you're not thinking like that. If you're caught up in the story, it's working. The only reason that doesn't work on adults is because we've done this dance a million times.
Yeah, exactly.
Teddy, $10 super chat. So if the symbiote ever chooses a train conductor, Spider-Man is screwed. Yes, absolutely.
It's true.
Imagine if Venom took over a train.
That's gotta happen somewhere. You kind of get that in the Never Stop game.
Oh, interesting.
That
would
you
be
fight Venom on a train.
That would be Spider-Man's ultimate arch nemesis, is Venom as a train.
That'd be crazy.
Teddy put in another $10 super chat and says, I think Andrew Garfield Spider-Man had the best quips in terms of funny, but I don't know when Holland does it, the quips and him talking in the suit feels more Spider-Man to me. Does that make sense? Well, the sentence doesn't, but the sentiment does. I agree.
I agree with the second half. Don't agree with the first half.
I'm somewhere in the middle on that, but Holland, I think, just overall feels more like what I picture that character from the books.
Yeah, for sure. That's what I have.
Lucas Green, £5 super chat. Your thoughts on the Goblin Norman dual personality? Other villains have it. Harvey and Two-Face, Anton Mercer, and Mesogog. How does it compare? Well, again, the biggest issue is we just don't really explore why it's happening. So, like, the performance is hands down probably the best in live action I've ever seen that.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, I like it better than, the couple of times we've had a live-action Two-Face. And, like, when we do it in Batman Forever, he doesn't even have, multiple personalities.
Yeah, because we've never really done that with Two-Face in a movie.
And then Austin won't understand that reference, but I'll speak to it really quick. With the Dino Thunder thing, Anton Mercer and Mesogog, that's a neat performance. Where he's doing two completely different things, but it also helps that he's got an animatronic head on when he's Mesogog, so like he gets to completely disappear when he's playing, the scary monster man.
Oh, okay.
So you get to cheat a little bit when you have that.
It's a little easier.
But I appreciate the Mesogog reference. That's one of my favorite Power Rangers villains. He's top 3. He's wonderful. Dan Schneider, $2 super chat. Elijah Dushku was almost Mary Jane. Thoughts? I don't know if she was almost, but she auditioned for it. I don't know how close she got. I don't know if she was actually like in their runners up, or if they saw Kirsten Dunst and very quickly were like that. Yeah, that's who we're going with. But I don't see that at all. I think that's a horrible pick. Like, I like Elijah Dushku a lot, but like, I don't see her as even as spunky and proactive as I want a Mary Jane to be, she's still, in a lot of stories, and obviously in this she would have been, and in all 3 of these she would have been, too much of a damsel in distress character for Faith from Buffy to play her. I don't see it. And even if Dushku has range, and I don't see it in the face, it's not the right body type, it's not the right kind of beauty even, it's all wrong.
Yeah, I'm just not familiar with Elijah Dushku. Like, when I stopped watching Buffy is right when she gets introduced.
Yeah.
So it's I don't even really know her that well as an actress.
I like her a lot. She's one of my favorite actresses, but I don't like her for that role. I don't see, this is going to sound so dumb and superficial, I don't see Mary Jane with a cleft chin.
Damn straight.
It's just off. I don't know. Teddy, I think this might be our last super chat. If we missed any, let us know, folks. Teddy, $10 super chat. In my defense, I had a better sentence, but it would have had to go over $10, and I'm the $10 guy. I'm committed. Well, I appreciate it, man. I mean, thanks a ton for all the support. And I didn't mean to make fun of you too much. I was just trying to be accurate. Some of that sentence didn't make a lot of sense, but I got where you were going. I understood it. We took that train that was trying to kill Spider-Man, and we got to the station. We made it.
Exactly. We hit some folk on the way, but we got there.
I'm so excited that I got to talk about Mesogog. Austin.
Yes.
Let's go to mini reviews real quick. I'm sorry that took so long. We just had so many super chats. And didn't have time to read a lot of regular comments because we had so many super chats tonight. But thank you guys once again for all the support. And now we're going to read some of your reviews.
Yes, and I've got 5.
I'm looking at 4.
Oh, okay, so I can start because
Yes,
I got
sir.
one more.
Go ahead.
The Captain Coon, he says, it's a movie that misses the character and shaped fans' view of him in their minds. Peter Parker of the comics is an antisocial asshole who gets power that he lets go to his head, then realizes actions have consequences when he let the burglar get away and decided to use his powers for good. Raimi's Peter is a dork who lets a guy get away to make himself feel better, but never changes outside of that, and it shaped entire generations of fans to view him like that. Meanwhile, MJ trades up and treats people around her like crap. The best characters in this movie are Jameson and Osborn, mostly because of their actors. And the best thing to come from this movie is the McRib saga. Also, I remember Peter. I don't know if I can say this. Harry's a P word, so don't tell him anything. Rating villain.
Wow. I didn't remember going back to this just like how much of kind of a manipulative jerk Harry Osborn is to his best friend.
Well, Harry also lives in a gaslit world where everyone's like, hey, Peter, don't tell Harry things.
No, that's true. Yeah, how does that become a repeated motif phrase? Don't tell Harry.
He just lives in a world where he never has all the cards.
Daniel Davis, Sam Raimi Spider-Man was a formative theatrical experience back in 2002 for me. Even taking nostalgia aside, I still think it's a fantastic origin story. Yes, the stuff with Mary Jane is not the best, and I do have some gripes, but everything else is just superhero bliss for me. A wonderful movie that still holds up well. Legend. Wow, we got our first legend. Really quick, let me go back to that first review you read, Austin, because there's a thing I wanted to ask you about. I now that I'm thinking about it, what do you think about what he said about a whole generation like being raised to see Peter Parker wrong because of this movie?
So I agree to the extent that there are whole Spider-Man fans that like get mad when Spider-Man isn't exactly this.
Yeah.
And I don't fully agree with the take on Peter. So like I agree with that, but I also think this movie is fine just as its own thing. Like that's more just fans can be annoying to me than like I'm more annoyed with the movie itself.
I honestly,
I'm also so like divorced from Spider-Man at this point, like how bad things have gotten over the last like more than a decade at this point. But yeah,
no, that's where I'm at. Also, I'm sad to say, but no, I actually think, and like I said, Peter doesn't mature enough through the movies. So I can see why with all 3 of them you might feel that way. Like you do have the challenge of having to like continue the character and let him, grow and evolve. And I don't think enough of that happens. It's that Smallville problem to a lesser degree. That's another thing they have in common. But with just this movie, I don't agree. I don't think Austin with what he said about his issue with how the burglar is handled. Like I like the addition of the vindictive bit. I actually like that more than what's done it with it in the comics, like in the original origin. The idea that he makes it like a personal thing, because I think it speaks more to the Uncle Ben speech, the "be careful who you change into," the like you have the power to stop a thing and you chose not to because it either benefited you not to, or you were upset with a person and you wanted to like stand there and watch them get theirs. I actually think that speaks to exactly what Stan Lee was getting at, and I think he might have even written it that way if he'd thought of it.
Yeah, no, I think they do a good job capturing that origin stuff there.
Like, I don't think it makes him too much worse of a person, and obviously he learns from it. You know, after what does happen with Uncle Ben. But also this is coming from someone. I know you don't like the first Amazing movie, and I don't think it's amazing, despite the title. But but I've always even liked the idea of taking Peter so far that he is almost a villain after Uncle Ben's death. That he could I don't want to actually murder someone, but I'm okay with even taking him right up to that point before he fully gets the responsibility thing. So I'm okay with an initially like vindictive and pretty selfish Peter Parker.
Yeah, when Uncle Ben's death in that movie is so contrived, like
no,
it's
totally.
So much worse in that movie. Just like everything around the burglar and then the death of Uncle Ben. It's rough.
No, I'm with you. All I'm saying with that, the one big piece of it that I really
like he becomes like a vigilante.
Yeah, the piece of it that I do appreciate is that Uncle Ben doesn't say with great power and magically he understands what that means. I like that he's got to live some life before he gets what he was talking about. That's what I like about that.
Yeah, I don't think the change really works for me in that movie, but like I agree. Like that's if you're gonna change it, like that's something.
Let's finish these off. Killer Moth Returns. This movie is so cute and just has a lot of fun energy. Hero. Best thing when Green Goblin slaps Spider-Man's head and leans on the wall like, "What's up, B-word?" Worst thing. Yeah, no, that is pretty great.
That is one of my favorite bits, yeah.
Worst thing. Those dumb movie tie-in toys where Spidey is driving a four-wheeler for some reason.
I don't remember this.
I don't remember that either.
I definitely did not have any. Actually, oh my god, I did have a four-wheeler Spider-Man as a kid.
You just unlocked a memory.
You just unlocked a memory.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I wasn't a big vehicle kid, so like I had like one or two, but like they weren't really the things I gravitated to. So like I probably was given that as a gift by someone, but like didn't use it a ton. Yeah, that completely unlocked a memory in my head.
That's awesome. Okay, keep going.
Chewbacca's lover. He says, I love this movie. It is one of the first PG-13 movies I saw in the theater and my first superhero origin story. I don't even know they needed an explanation for getting powers. I love this movie, but the MJ stuff doesn't hold up. Even nostalgia can't make that work, but I still have to give this movie a legend.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm just like a battered housewife with this movie or what, but like I've come around on that relationship to some degree, just in this, not afterwards.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I mean I have some of that.
Justin Hayes, that's Back Studios. One negative: Green Goblin's motivations in the third act could have easily been retooled to solving Harry's inequities once he learns Peter's identity. Yeah, because he says that and he doesn't really do it. I guess he thinks he is by going after all of the people Peter cares about, but he just makes it all about Peter, almost as an excuse just to go after Spider-Man, because he fought Spider-Man and he tried to get Spider-Man to join him and he wouldn't. And so maybe the idea was, I just had this thought, maybe the idea was supposed to be that that's supposed to be their shared purpose, is like, Norman is supposed to try to kill Spider-Man because of what's happening with Harry, and the Goblin wants to kill Spider-Man because Spider-Man said no to him. And like, maybe that's the idea. It's not real well communicated. I don't know.
I just want my picture on the $1 bill, Spider-Man.
Because no one says no to me. But even if maybe the movie thinks that's what's happening, it doesn't quite seem so. Yeah, just what I said. Otherwise, to me, it's a flawless comic book movie. Wow, I cannot see fault in this movie. Even in its most glaring weaknesses, I can't see them. They're weaknesses, but I can't see them. As it's only gotten better with age for me, and almost any critique I could give would sound like a nitpick to my ears, it will also probably always be the greatest adaptation of the vibe of early Spider-Man comics we could get. No question, legend.
From Subject 879, aka John, he says, it's the best of the Raimi trilogy and nostalgic for me, but we've done better since then. The best part of this movie is Willem Dafoe's Green Goblin, raiding hero.
Joe Turner, full of color, melodrama, and goofiness in all the best ways. It's like Adam West Batman with a layer of real heart beneath the absurdity. I love almost everything about it. I just wish Mary Jane didn't fail to have almost every element that makes her a fun character. A legend in impact, probably a superhero in fact.
So the next one's from Doolittle. And part of me thinks I should read all of it, but another part of me is like, we probably don't want me reading this entire thing. He copy and pasted the entire lyrics to "Hero" by Chad Kroger, and then
that's
wrote
hilarious.
"Rating Superhero."
I've got at least some of that memorized still. Probably that used to be a go-to karaoke song, just because it's funny. I used to do that for karaoke.
It is funny.
Okay, Austin.
No,
let's go.
Oh, are you done? I've got one more.
Oh, you got one more? Okay. Oh, wait. Yes. Okay. That was it. I don't know how you have one more. Oh, yes, because you started.
I think you read two in a row as well.
Is that what it was?
Or maybe not. I don't know.
Whatever. I'm an idiot. It's fine.
Connor Nielsen, Spider-Man represents a harmonious blending of Raimi's style and idiosyncrasies with the resources and cinematic language of a major studio blockbuster. A deeply entertaining, top-tier superhero movie that earns its status as a modern classic of the 21st century, and one which accomplishes this in part by hearkening to elements of Hollywood productions that have appealed to mass audiences for generations, rating superhero.
Yeah, that's true. We kind of alluded to that when we said there's sort of some old Hollywood elements, which was also a thing that '89 was after, and I think that's a place where they're in a similar tradition.
Well, I think it's just guys who grew up in like a similar generation. And then just the difference is that Tim Burton is more like the artsy kid, while Raimi's more like Midwestern guy that just grew up in like a regular town. So it's like they kind of come at it from different perspectives.
Yeah, like, even though we hadn't had a lot of mainstream superhero movies yet when this came out, and I've made this point before, but when I went to the theater, I had this really weird feeling of I've seen this movie before. Like, I simultaneously went, it's really weird that you just went by the numbers down the superhero movie formula, and I remember this in the theater, I'm not kidding, going, wait a minute, we haven't had any of this formula yet. But this is what I would have guessed, I guess, that they would all be like if we just started making them. And
it's like Halloween to slasher movies. Like it perfectly just sets this is what it is.
Yeah. And So while it did seem too formulaic for me then, like I said earlier, now I'm kind of at home with it. I sort of missed some of this stuff. Like I don't want everything to be like exactly the same formula all the time. But I but there's like a classic thing with this that I missed that we don't go to as much now, and I think the reason it felt so familiar, besides the fact that just I Raimi knows comics, and I probably felt like I'd seen this because I read enough stuff like this, but also he's to the point about old Hollywood. A lot of us probably watched this when it came out, and in I wasn't a kid, like I come like just about to come out of high school, but this was like just really familiar. Like you'd also seen movies like this, and like that's by design, that's intentional. That's the way in which it's real accessible, and I think he's able to get away with some of the risks he's taking with some of the more comic stuff, because I guess this is the point I'm trying to make, Austin, as a cinematic piece, it's really familiar, and then he can get away with all the comic book stuff.
Well, I think, I look at it like something like, because I was thinking about it while watching the movie, something like a Shang-Chi, which to me is like the most cookie cutter MCU movie, where it's like, this is obviously the formula movie, but Raimi just brings so much energy to it, and just like so much like flavor on top of that, whereas something like a Shang-Chi looks like it could have been directed by AI, like it doesn't matter. So it's like, that's kind of the big thing I have here, is that I just think you have a director that has so much style that even if it is like very formulaic, like that adds on top of the material.
Well, it's formula with identity.
Exactly.
Okay, Austin, let's get to our ratings and finish up here. Where are you going with this one?
So I am going to go a superhero in this movie. I don't know if we've talked about this, but I like this movie more than 2. I have less issues with this one compared to 2. But yeah, I like this movie a lot.
I think you said that when we did 2, because we're actually doing these out of order. We've done 2 on the show already.
I probably did, and I probably said it on the top 100 superhero movies, honestly, but it's hard to keep track of things in my head. But yeah, like, as a Spider-Man fan, I don't think it fully captures everything I want from a Spider-Man movie. A lot of it's paid lip service too, so it's like I at least get elements of things. But especially now, just as a fan of Sam Raimi, I really like it, and it's added like another level to it. And I just think, just as a movie itself, it's just very classy and like very classic in a way. And as somebody that's like not especially nostalgic about like media, like I don't tend to look back at stuff like this and I'm like, oh, I grew up with this movie, so I like it. Like I feel like I've come to appreciate this in a different way than when I did as a kid.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I'm in a superhero place with this too, and I probably did that with 2. I can't remember if I ended up going all the way to Legend with it. I don't think I did.
Yeah, I want to say I gave a superhero to 2, but I can't remember.
And I don't think I'm prepared to say that that I like this over 2 at this point. I think I still put 2 over this, and I had a period where I was almost flipping them, because it just depends on like the last viewing I've had with 2 and how mad I am at that relationship. Like that's kind of where I come down on it. I had a really good viewing of that when you and I did our commentary, whenever that was, a couple years ago.
Yeah, no, and I did too. I had a better viewing of 2 than I had in a long time. But I've, like, even as a kid, I liked Spider-Man 1 more than I liked Spider-Man 2.
Yeah.
And as a kid, I, like, just didn't even like Spider-Man 2. Well, like, now I've come to appreciate things about it. It's just, I think it has story issues.
I mean, it does. So does this. I mean, the thing with 2 is it has I think, more of a complete story. There's less motivation wise that I'm missing from it that I needed to be talking about. I think that's overall probably why I feel the need to put it higher. I'll still never understand why Doc Ock throws a car at a person that he's supposed to take alive. I'll never understand that. But
Yeah, I don't really especially love the power stuff in that movie.
Say again.
But I said I especially I don't really like the power stuff in that movie. Like I don't think that fully comes together.
No, I've always complained about
two
that.
Is reaching farther, but
Yeah.
I think this movie is fully nailing most of what it's trying to do.
I guess that's fair. The thing is, I like the stuff I like in that movie most is story stuff, and the stuff I like with this movie is more flavor stuff. I think is the way to put it.
Fair.
Where there is more going on than I initially gave it credit for when I first did a video on this with some of the character analysis stuff I was doing earlier. Again, nobody is, apart from Peter, I guess, nobody's as drawn as I want them to be with the major principal players. We do as much as we need to with Aunt May and characters like that. But I don't know. It's still kind of more about the trappings for me, I guess.
Mm-hmm. That's fair. Spider-Man 2 does have the toaster.
Yeah, there's weirder stuff in that movie. There's more head scratching. I don't know why you even put that in there. Stuff in that movie.
But that's what I love about Sam Raimi is those are the moments where you can tell that he was this is a funny thing I'm gonna put in this movie, because all of his movies have weird little touches like that, and it's great. I'm especially glad that especially somebody who started as an independent filmmaker got to make big movies like this and still had a voice that's as strong as he does as a filmmaker.
Where he's not buried, because that happens a lot these days, where it doesn't even matter that person's in there. I've always said that about Thor, where I'm I wish Branagh was more clearly behind this project, because I can see bits of him.
He could have made a cool Thor.
Say again?
It's because he could have made a cool Thor. His Thor movie's just kind of fine, but he's not a bad pick for it.
No, but it looks like it's made by just any workman director.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And one that couldn't afford a tripod with 3 legs that were the same size.
That's hilarious. And this is another one of those movies that I think I also enjoy for some of its flaws as much as some of its strengths.
Yeah.
Because I'll never get tired of talking about Pigeon. You pin him in 2. For that, I give you 100. It's still funny.
That guy was Bonesaw's husband. He was really pissed.
Austin, let's go to our rankings now. And I struggled with where to put this in relation to Darkman. Because that's also Raimi, and I found myself putting it close to there, and I cannot decide which is technically the better movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and for me, it's Darkman. I think Darkman is easily his best superhero movie, but that's fair.
I can't decide. I find them... they've got similarities, obviously, but I find them hard to compare.
Well, in this movie straight up uses a shot from Darkman, and not...
We talked about that.
He did a similar shot, but
No, we talked about that.
They reuse a shot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, they're after different things. They're for different audiences. We didn't even really talk about how he and Gunn have the same thing where they're making movies for mostly more mature audiences, and they're not worried about being horribly accessible to everybody, because they're making kind of more niche kinds of movies. And then all of a sudden they have to bring their sensibilities to something that's intended for a wide audience that's hoping it can make millions and millions of dollars, and they both, you know, like with this and Guardians respectively, managed to make that transition really well.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think I talked about this in our like 18-hour long Superman spoiler cast. But I do think these movies were definitely an influence on that new Superman.
Yeah, I can see that. So anyway, I've got it at 18, just under Darkman, and just just above Darkman and just under Puss in Boots. But it might move.
Oh, okay.
I'm not sure how you feel about that placement right now, but that's where I've got it.
It's real tough. I had a hard time placing it.
Yeah, you had it higher than me.
When I even just changed it while we've been talking, I'm like, I should maybe move it.
You still have it higher than me.
I do, yeah.
But yeah, you've got it at 12, just above Sherlock Holmes and just under Hercules.
Mm-hmm. Honey, you mean Honcules. But yeah, that's where I have it.
Yeah, I definitely think Sherlock Holmes is the better movie. Although I've got that right now all the way up at 8.
No, I could see, because I originally had this under Dread, and it's somewhere in there, I would think. Like, I could see putting it back down.
Oh, sure. Yeah, and I've got it just a few under Dread.
So
I don't know. The ranking thing is real arbitrary. It's hard.
Exactly. It's a real competition to beat Mystery, man.
Not for me. I don't like that movie as well as you do. Well, the only thing left to do now is to announce next week's movie. And we had a tie this time. We had to flip a coin, actually, which is really unusual. We had a tie for our poll for the patrons that selected the movie last time. And it was between this and 90s movie. And Austin's going to tell us what we're doing next time. Because we decided to do the movie that was in the tie.
Mm-hmm. It's The Mask.
Which I'm excited about because I just got that new like deluxe 4K release, and Connor sent me that. Thanks again to Connor. So I'm gonna try to get all the special features watched because it's got some new material, and then I can talk about some of that in that commentary, which will be great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. And I haven't seen that movie in God, like maybe even close to like 10 years at this point. It's been a long time.
Don't ruin it for me, Austin. We're gonna come in here and Austin's gonna be like, you know what? I've had the worst the worst viewing of this I've ever had. It's horrible.
I'm a little worried about that.
And you're not a Jim Carrey fan.
Yeah. No, I'm worried about that. But I don't know. I'm sure it's good. I like Chuck Russell. He directed that. I'm sure it's good.
It's got to be better than Spawn.
Well, yeah.
Well,
that's like saying this chicken is better than dog food.
Well, they're both New Line, a couple years apart.
Yeah.
Yeah, how did we end up doing this on Valentine's Day?
I don't know. Are you gonna wear your Asian-inspired outfit for Valentine's Day, or are you gonna wear black because Sarah's dad loves black?
Well, he's not gonna be around, and I don't really care what Sarah's dad likes. I'm choosing an outfit, so yeah.
Damn.
So obviously, I'm going for the Asian outfit.
Groovy.
That is maybe the most perplexing thing in this movie. It's really bewildering.
I love that we can like read more into it. Like Harry's then wearing black, she's wearing black at Thanksgiving, and then when Harry gets the supervillain costume, it's mostly black.
I just like the idea that she tried to pick the most unlike the thing she thought Norman Osborn would like. Where she's like, I'm not even going to pick a thing that's, like, American or in my wardrobe. She just goes to some random store and spends, like, $500 on this dress that she's very, you know, like, almost certainly kept the tags tucked in and will return when she's finished.
That's also why the ghost of Norman abandons Harry, is because Peter, dressed in black, comes and kicks his ass. So Norman's like, I can't even deny that. Like, he's wearing my collar. He's my bro now.
That's a good point. The ghost of Norman Osborn is a big fan of black costume Spider-Man.
Yeah. Exactly.
That's great. Well, once
when
again,
Harry dies and goes to heaven, he's like, well, Harry, you were killed by Venom who was wearing black. I like that.
Nobody says no to me. Anyway.
Nobody doesn't wear black in front of me.
I want to say thanks to all of our patrons, and especially our Patreon producers. Once again, if you want to become a producer, $10 tier is how you do that. Thanks again to everybody who came in to watch tonight, and especially that left super chats supporting the show. Right now I'm going to read all of the names of our top supporters. You guys are great. Really appreciate you. And that is including, but not limited to, Jesse Surtees, Jajira, Justin Hayes, Victor, Super Billy, Elliot Slater, Dr. Hello, Stone Gasman, Gooster123, Joe Turner, Killer Moth Returns, ! Matthew Brody, Avik Stark, Kareem Roberts, Damon Bugle, Adam March, Cereal When Pigs Fly, Hot Soup, Michael Martin, Kate Blaze, and the Captain Coon. And we will see you again next Friday night for another one. We're going to watch The Mask in our sudden impromptu series of movies I've covered too often before. We got to come up with a fourth one. I like to do these in fours. We got to come up with one more that has too many commentaries.
Yeah, I don't know. They have to look into it. Howard the Duck, because that has like 4 commentaries.
And we did it, Jason and I, not too long ago, even. Not for the show.
Yeah, exactly.
We did a blind impromptu commentary on that. Now, to be fair, The Mask I've only got one commentary on. I did with Dan a few years ago, but I did a rewind a long time ago, and I mean, I've talked about that movie a lot.
Yeah.
So I still
RJ Godzilla says, if Norman's favorite color was black, then why was he the Green Goblin? Well, the answer for that is that he went to Dr. Strom and was like, does it come in black? And then Dr. Strom was like, no.
Does it come in black?
No, it doesn't, Norman. It's only in green. We designed one.
I like how in that scene where he takes the serum, he has to explain to Dr. Strom how it works. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't understand that. Like, he's the guy that's been helping you develop it, and Dr. Strom's like, why do you have to do this? And he's like, I forget what exactly it is, but it's like,
because Dr. Strom's a beta male.
It's like, you have to use this as a catalyst, and I'm like, how does he not know that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it's because he's a beta male. He's the assistant. He doesn't know anything. That's why there's purple on the Green Goblin suit, though, is he tried to spray paint it black, but it was purple, so he gave up.
He was listening to the song Paint It Black as he was doing it.
Yeah, and he was like, wait a minute, this isn't black, it's purple.
He's like, I've got a costume and I'm gonna paint it black. And then it doesn't work. It comes out purple. And then he's like, I hate purple.
Well, that's the real reason he was in the fire, was he was hoping the fire would burn his suit black.
This is a really bizarre backstory that we've come up with for Norman Osborn's costume.
But I like it, though. I like it.
Okay. We'll see you later, folks. I was Captain Logan. This was Austin. Finish it! This is Austin the Day Ghost. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.